A very good evening and welcome along to Headingley. Up here in the Vertu studio, we've got a delightful view of the action that you can see there. The sun is shining down and is just getting out past through the clouds. No rain forecast, all set for a fantastic night here. Yorkshire versus the Northamptonshire Steelbacks, who are two-time winners of this competition and have got a bit of Yorkshire history in their side, both in the captaincy and in the coaching department, in a certain David Willey and Darren Lehman. I'm Michael McCann. I'll be joined later on by the likes of Dr. Jane Powell, Amy Campbell and Aaron Viles on a night that's always noted in the English cricket calendar. Of course, the women's team start their blast campaign on Sunday in League Two when facing Derbyshire here on Sunday afternoon. But for now, we can get across to all the news in this North Group action from the coin toss with Richard Graves.
For this opening Vitality Blast match of the 2025 campaign, alongside me the two skippers for Yorkshire, David Milan, a familiar face leading the Northamptonshire Steelbacks in David Willey. David, you've got the coin, away you go. Tails is the call from David Willey. It is a tail. It's a head, he tried to fool us. David, come on in, you've won the toss, good start to your captaincy.
Yeah, first thing that's gone right, hopefully the rest does, but we're going to have a bowl first.
Any particular reason for that, given the overhead conditions, set fair?
Yeah, there's been a bit of rain the last couple of days and it was quite wet 2 days ago, so pretty unsure how it's going to play, but hopefully we can get the first use of it and see what it's going to do.
And when you had the boys together in a huddle a few moments ago, a few new caps were given out as well.
Yeah, Matt Milne's playing his first game in 3 years for us, actually in T20. He's been through a hell of a lot recently with some really serious back injury, so it's great to have him on the park, and the two overseas players in Sutherland and O'Rourke. Great to have them here, and hopefully we can get the most out of them.
And just finally, what's the attitude, the tone you want to set for this campaign?
Yeah, we just want to take the positive option at all times to win the game in front of us. I think sometimes we can get lost in aggressive and buzzwords, but whatever the right option is to win the game in front of you, that's all the advice I have.
Well, go well tonight. Thanks very much, David. So that's the news from the middle, where Yorkshire have won the toss and they are going to bowl first.
Much to Richard for his work down there. Yorkshire have won the toss and are going to bowl first. You might say slightly surprisingly, given that in the last 4 seasons of Blast games here, 27 matches, 18 of them won by the team first. Alongside me, Yorkshire President Dr. Jane Powell. Your thoughts on that?
A bit of a surprise, like yourself. You know, it's one of those where it's a lovely night. It doesn't look like there'll be any rain interruptions, and I thought that we might have a bat first. But, you know, in a game of T20, the wicket's not going to change, the wicket's not going to alter, and it's all about you executing your skills and making sure that you can perform well on the night. And with a couple of new bowlers, that'll be interesting to see how they go first off.
Let's have a look through the teams quickly then. The Yorkshire 11, Adam Live, David Milan, Will Luxton, James Wharton, Harry Duke, Matt Revis, Tom Best, Jaffa Chauhan and Matt Milnes. And I'm missing there, of course, the 2 stars to really keep an eye on tonight. The overseas debutants, the 2 Wills. Will Sutherland and Will O'Rourke, Australian and New Zealand internationals, respectively. For Northants, meanwhile, the 11, David Willey, Matthew Bretsky, Ricardo Vasconcelos, Ravi Bopara, Saif Zabe, Justin Broad, Lewis McManus, Ben Sanderson, once of Yorkshire, of course, Lloyd Pope, Liam Guthrie and George Scrimshaw. So those are your 2 playing 11s. Earlier on, I had a little chance to go and have a look at the playing surface, traditionally known as pretty high-scoring pitch. David Milan told me in his own words earlier on that it's the 4th highest-scoring T20 ground in the world. I had a little sneak preview of the Headingley track.
So we've managed to sneak into Headingley a little early to have a look at the pitch. Later on this place will be rocking, but right now it is the calm before the storm. As we get down and have a glance at the end batters will be facing when the bowling is coming from the pavilion end, you can see there is a covering of grass, but it's mainly dead grass owing to what's been an excellent summer so far weather-wise throughout May. Historically, Headingley is often a very high scoring ground, and part of the reason is not necessarily in the pitch itself, but also it's in the outfield. If you look square of the wicket behind me, you can see it's pitches all the way down. And what that means is that particularly going square of the wicket on both sides, you get excellent value. If you're bowling a bumper, a short ball, you've got to be quick and right up at that armpit head height, threatening the batter to have success. If you aren't quite on it with anything short, you will be punished, and there's real value there for batters. As we come down to the other end of things, similar pattern. It is a track that largely looks one that will be good for batting. And speaking of batting and speaking of runs, there's two players who Yorkshire fans will hope will be a major part of the White Rose trying to win this competition for the first time in their history, Jonny Bairstow and David Malan. Bairstow, of course, not involved tonight. Malan captaining this season in place of Shan Masood. I had a catch up with both of them recently. Let's have a watch. And obviously in the white ball capacity you won't be captain, but I'm sure we'll be in and around the leadership with David Malan. What are your ambitions on the white ball side with Yorkshire this summer? Because there's so much cricket to enjoy across all formats.
Just to get picked. Who knows with Malan? Might be on the bench. We might actually be bowling a bit of off spin or something like that. So no, we'll wait and see. Yeah, of course, I'm looking forward to being a part of that T20 group, and yeah, I definitely won't be opening. He'll be opening. So no, we'll wait and see with that. But like I mentioned earlier, the talent pool that we've got at the club, I think that one of the biggest things with the white ball side is just gaining an understanding, and the ceiling is the limit, because we've seen at the start of the IPL so far the scores that have gone through the roof. We've seen at this. We want to get to another finals day. That's pretty obvious. We've still not won it. We want to be the group that wins it, and if we can get that relentlessness within the red ball stuff, that carries on into the white ball stuff, and then that can only be a good thing.
And Anthony McGrath back as coach, what has that been like? Because there would have been crossover from you as a very young tyke coming through the system and him at the back end as a player. What's he brought in terms of a change of dynamic?
Yeah, well, he gave me my debut, to be honest with you. So first of all, what a great man he is. The detail in which he goes into his preparation is meticulous, but I think the knowledge and the wealth of experience that he had, first of all playing for Yorkshire for such a long period of time, but then going away and experiencing a completely different club, a completely different culture, to bring that wealth of knowledge that he's learned from his coaching capacity to then implement that along with his playing capacity up back at his home club at Yorkshire is something that is only strong, because you get to know the characteristics of the individuals and what it means to play for the club that's embedded within you from a young age, and understanding that is half the battle when it comes to understanding the group.
And we've just spoken to Jonny Bairstow, who was pretty forthright about the goal being to get to finals day and to be the first Yorkshire team to win it. I would assume that's something you share.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you look back at Yorkshire's history, the fact that we haven't won a T20 blasted is not ideal. When you look at the quality of players that we've had over the years, before my time as well, they've had some fantastic players, and even the time I'm here, we've probably not been able to put it together massively. I think we've made a quarter-finals and a finals day in the 4 years that I've been part of the team, so to go one step further would be absolutely fantastic. And yeah, what that looks like, we're still discussing about how we can get the best out of what we've got here. We've made some fantastic overseas signings. We've probably been a little bit short with power plays and depth. We've always been very unlucky with injuries and all happening at the wrong time. Four-day cricket really does kill the boys when they're getting to that T20 stage. So to be able to have a couple of guys that are fresh, that tick a few boxes in that sense, is going to help balance the team out a lot more. And we might lose a bit of a strength somewhere else to accommodate the bowlers and so on. But it means that we're probably a more balanced team if they're fit and playing and bowling as well as they can.
And you mentioned the overseas signings, Will O'Rourke bowling absolute rockets from New Zealand, and then Will Sutherland, who has already made his Australian one-day international debut. What can Yorkshire supporters expect from those two?
Yeah, really excited about both of them. Having depth with the ball has been something we've lacked due to all the injuries we've had. Two guys come there that is now their game, bowling 104, 105 clicks down the hill. Well, I presume he's going to bowl down the hill because I don't think he's going to like it much of bowling up the hill. So some of them might have to bowl up the hill, so he probably won't like me either. But to have two guys that can balance our team out really well, and then you put guys like Bairstow and potentially a Root and Live, who's been fantastic, and Bess and Moriarty, Jaffa, hopefully Abdul Rashid's available for some of the games. And you start looking and you go, God, there's a team coming together on paper, and how we can get the best out of those players to be able to perform consistently, because to play 14 games in a blast over 2 blocks plus finals day, it's incredibly challenging. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of guys that, like I said before, get injured, overseas might not be available again, call-ups. So the challenge is always to put it together, but if we can get it all right, then hopefully we can play some really good cricket.
And what do you think you can take from your experience of being in so many different camps over the years into your personal leadership style?
Yeah, interesting question. I guess, one of the most frustrating things I always hear when captains give things up, they say, oh, just do it your way and things like that. But is it your way the right way? I think it's about trying to find what brings the best out of the players. I've played in a lot of franchises that are, very micromanaged, and other teams that are, go out and play and do what you want. And I guess we have the mix here where we have a lot of players that you don't need to be holding their hands much, and you've got a lot of younger players who still need the guidance. And I guess that's the challenge for Anthony McGrath and myself, to be able to find which balance works for this group of players we have, and that will change as they get more experience, or if players get moved on, or whatever the situation is. But yeah, I think allowing players to not worry about the old, fear of failure and what have you, but being able to go out and play the game that you want to play, and play the game that's in front of you, and play how you see the game, and to be free enough to go and do it. You're not going to get told off if you get caught on hitting an off spinner with the spin. You're going to be encouraged to keep doing it. And I know it might be frustrating for a lot of people at home to watch and to go, oh, you're making the same mistakes, but at some point the penny drops, and at some point you start learning from those mistakes, and you hit the ball 5 yards further because you're training better and you're clear what you want to do. And bowlers are executing better when they're used to being under pressure more. So I guess it's trying to find the right way that works for this group of players. I've never worked with Anthony McGrath before, but everyone that I've ever spoken to about him always has so many positive things to say about his man management, how he finds the way to work with the players and get the best out of players. And I'm excited to see that side of how he goes about it and learn from that as well, because we can never stop learning. We can always add new skills to our hats and see if we can get the best out of every player that we have.
You're someone that's achieved highly impressive things at the top level with England across all 3 formats. What do you think you can learn and bring from that experience into you as a captain?
Yeah, I think clear, consistent messaging. I think continuity in team selections. Yes, there might be tactical ones here or there, but if you lose 2 games to suddenly change the team by 4 or 5, making 4 or 5 changes, I don't think that helps teams. I think batting guys opening and then batting them at 6 4 games later, I don't think things like that help. So actually being clear, believing that the formula, the 12 or the 13 players that are in the squad are the best 12 or 13 for that specific game, to be able to contribute and have a massive impact on that game to win those games, and to give us the options of having, whether we play 3 spinners, 2 spinners, extra batters, all-rounders. And I think that's really, really exciting for us at Yorkshire, is that we have, probably for the first time I've not been captain of Yorkshire before. The guys before did a fantastic job, but I guess their hands were a little bit tied in the sense they always had injuries, and they probably were trying to fill up teams and make teams get the 11 right with the teams, where I feel like we've got, if everyone stays fit, we've got 13, 14, 15 guys all pushing for a spot, which is really exciting in the sense that we can probably go 2 or 3 different combinations. And I think that helps massively when you're trying to plan for a tournament, because nothing ever goes to plan. You could have the best laid plans, and you could lose 3 in a row off the last ball, and you feel like your season's done. So let's just try to be as consistent as we can with that. Pick the same players, back them, and identify which players they are, which Mags will obviously have a big part in as well, with the direction that he wants the club to go, and Gav. And then you make a decision on that, and hopefully everything falls in place, and we all play in good cricket at the right times. I think if we, especially the times I've been here, I guess you rely a lot on your senior players to perform, and if a couple of your senior players are having a quiet tournament, you're relying on guys that haven't yet found their feet. So if we can get our senior guys to be playing well at the time, and you can drag those younger players with, and they can contribute in the way they have done at times, then it's a really exciting time for us.
Speaking of senior players, there's every possibility of having Johnny Bairstow right through a lot of those white ball games under your captaincy. He was in here joking earlier on that you're going to have him bowling off spin and not opening the batting. But on a serious note, what a player he would be to have around and working very closely with you, I'd imagine, as captain, given that he's red ball captain.
100%. Johnny's been around for years. I've played a hell of a lot of cricket with him. I actually spoke to him today and said, we need to sit down and work out what you're happy with. I'm not here to tell Johnny Bairstow you're going to bat at 7 and keep, and you're going to fill down here if you don't keep. And it's what's going to bring the best out of you, and what are you happy with, and where do you see the best version of yourself? Because I've played in a lot of teams where your best players are and your consistent players that have done it year in year out and moved left, right, and centre to accommodate different gaps. Whereas actually trying to find a way to get the best out of Johnny, because if Johnny has a blinder of a T20 comp in the position that he's happy with and the mindset that he's happy with, there's every chance you're going to do exceptionally well. So trying to get the best out of those players is your key. But to have someone like Johnny, potentially Ruti, I don't know how the test and all those schedules, maybe Brookie, even though that might be a long shot considering he's had a bit of a break now, and Adil Rashid, potentially there's no test cricket for him unless he suddenly decides he's going to play test cricket, so hopefully we can see a bit of him. So you start adding these guys in with the experience that you have, and guys that have been in leadership positions, played franchise cricket around the world, and we're creating a right environment where these guys want to come in and play. You never know that they could all have a couple of good games at once and suddenly you're flying.
Sprinkling in a bit of stardust. Any final message for the Yorkshire supporters watching at home?
I guess just bear with us. I know we've been frustrating over a few years to watch. We win a game and then we get bowled out for 40 somewhere or whatever it is, but just bear with us. We have underperformed in T20 cricket here. I'm as guilty of it as anyone else. There's no finger pointing, but it's trying to get the best out of the players we have at the moment and trying to hopefully get the support from everyone that we're trying to get to the quarter-finals, which you probably only need to win 7 or 8 games. So if we do lose 2, it doesn't mean that our tournament's finished and people get negative. But look, we do appreciate the support from everyone. We do get a tremendous support from everyone when we play here at Headingley, and if that can continue, then that can only help us.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, David. Best of luck for 2025.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
So not far from the start of the action here at Headingley, let's take another check on the teams for this Men's Vitality Blast opener for Yorkshire. What we can broadly say is approximate batting order. Captain Darby Milan, Will Luxton, James Wharton, Harry Duke, Will Sutherland, Matthew Revis, Tom Bess, Matthew Milnes, who of course has had his injury troubles. Great to see him back. Chapa Chauhan and Will O'Rourke. The two Wills will be quickly into the action, you'd imagine, with Yorkshire winning the toss and choosing to bowl both overseas debutants, and both will play a key part in Yorkshire's last campaign this season. 3 in the squad who didn't make this particular 11: Johnny Tattersall, Dan Moriarty and Jack White. George Hill resting after an excellent run of championship action that got him an England Lions call up, but has been instead given that period of time just to rest and recuperate. Johnny Bairstow, of course, busy with IPL commitments, but Yorkshire hope to have him back by potentially the 3rd game of this Blast campaign, and Jordan Thompson is out injured. As for Northants, his side packed with experience in a team that last season got through to the quarter-finals, having finished second in the North Group and only missed out on finals day when losing at home in the quarter-finals by 17 runs to Somerset at Wantage Road. Led by David Willey, someone who Yorkshire fans will know plenty about, of course. Matt Bretsky, Ricardo Vasconcelos, Ravi Bopara, Saif Zaib, Justin Broad, Lewis McManus, Ben Sanderson, of course, played for Yorkshire way back from 2008 through to 2011. Lloyd Pope, the Australian leg-spinning overseas, Liam Guthrie and George Scrimshaw. That's your two teams. As mentioned, there'll be a lot of eyes in particular tonight on Yorkshire's two overseas debutants who, both in their own ways, should be exciting to see in action. Will O'Rourke, someone who's already building quite the name for himself across the world. 32 appearances for New Zealand, 63 wickets. He's 6'4" and he can bowl above 90 miles an hour. So he sounds pretty handy, doesn't he, Dr. Jane Powell? I'm
looking forward. I'm excited to see him bowl. You know, there's all good information coming. I think he's been with Lucknow recently in the IPL. So it'll be good to see him play, and it'd be lovely to get off to a cracker here.
Yeah, he said that he actually spoke to Kane Williamson once upon a time of Yorkshire, of course, and said that Kane was, in O'Rourke's words, effusive in his praise for the club and Yorkshire supporters. Everyone around the world knows of Yorkshire County Cricket Club. Gavin Hamilton, Yorkshire's general manager of cricket, said, "Signing a player of Will's calibre is a signal of our intent for this season. He was one of the standouts of the last year and showed his ability against England over the winter in test matches as well." So that's Will O'Rourke, who you'd imagine pretty quickly is going to have the ball in his hand, given that Yorkshire have won the toss and elected to bowl. And another Will, who later on will have the ball in his hand as well, you'd imagine, is Will Sutherland. Has played a couple of ODIs for Australia in February of last year against the West Indies. He's the captain of the Victorian state team, who've recently come very close to silverware in the one-day competition. He's also skipper of the Melbourne Renegades. He's a Big Bash winner back in 2018 when he was first breaking through. So another exciting overseas prospect that we're looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Will Sutherland comes from good cricketing stock, you know. Some of the listeners may not be familiar with the fact that Annabelle Sutherland, his sister, is one of the top players in the world, let alone in Australia, and his dad was Chief Executive Officer of Cricket Australia. But Will Sutherland's certainly somebody that I'm really excited that he's now in our ranks, particularly as he's an all-rounder. Not only can he bowl well, but he can also bat well and score some vital runs. And I've seen him skipping tonight when he's warm-up, and he's pretty good at skipping too.
Let's hope he's pretty good at cricket as well. All the signs show that he is. You mentioned his sister Annabelle. It's not often that you're someone that's played in international cricket for your country, but you're by miles not the biggest, most recognisable name, in the sense that that women's team are such superstars in Australia that Annabelle's much better known. And he's actually the second Sutherland to also grace Headingley, because his younger sister Annabelle has played for the Northern Superchargers in the 100 last summer. And there's quite a nice quote from Will about that. He said, "She hit a few big sixes out over the sight screen, so hopefully I can follow in her shoes and do the same. She loved it here. No doubt I'll have a great experience as well." And Yorkshire head coach Anthony McGrath said about Sutherland, "We're really pleased to have got him. It's getting harder and harder to get overseas players in for any length of time, particularly real quality ones. You're seeing that even in 6-week franchise competitions, players coming in and out. So to get Will for the time we've had is exciting for the group and the club." He's also pointed to the fact that, in his words, he knows the Australian selectors think very highly of him. And with an Ashes series coming up in the English winter, there's no harm for his future prospects to be showing what he can do against English players in English conditions.
No, absolutely. And we mustn't forget that Headingley is a test venue as well. So he'll have aspirations to come back here playing for Australia in an Ashes series against England. And you know, if we can get him as a youngster, then, you know, that loyalty can kick in. And I think the fact that his sister played here really paid dividends, because he's shown the loyalty not only to his sister, but to the county that looked after his sister as well. So it'll be great to have him wearing the Yorkshire kit. And I understand he's going to be around for a couple of championship matches as well, which is, I'm sure some of the listeners will be delighted to hear that. So, as I say, it's very exciting. And as we're going to bowl first, we'll get to see them quite early on, I think.
Yeah, you're spot on, Dr. James. So Will Sutherland will play in the county championship games at Nottinghamshire and then against Essex at York, which intertwine with this blast block. Will O'Rourke will play in one of those games. Anthony McGrath has said that it will be a case of looking and seeing which game is a better fit. So both after, what I don't think it's any controversial statement to say has been a tough start to life back in Division 1, can provide a bit of fresh impetus with a different format. And Anthony McGrath was pretty front on when talking about things so far. He said the players want to get out there again and we can't feel sorry for ourselves. It's a new competition and it's about starting well. Right here, right now, we've got to look in ourselves, not just the players, but all the coaches as well. And we've got to find some answers. Yes, the championship table doesn't look great, but this group is dying to do well. You need more than just that, though, at the highest levels of sport. It's about what's in your head. It's a competition we know we have to get better at, but it is about us going out there and getting momentum and improving. And right now, of course, that's in this T20 format.
Yes, for sure. And, Anthony McGrath doesn't need me to back him up, but, as a coach or as a past coach, sometimes it's hard just to break that cycle, and he'll be doing everything he can with his support staff to make sure that you keep the minds of all the players positive and just keep convincing them that they've got that ability and that class and that to go out and skill to be able to go out and do that. And sometimes you just need one game which just turns it round. And I think last year we had a few good runs. We started poorly and then we had a couple of games that turned it round, and then we just won championship game after championship game after championship game, which gave us that promotion. So hopefully this will be the competition where they can play with a little bit more freedom. They can go out there, feel the bat on the ball, and they can make sure that they're bowling line and length and making sure that they're winning the game at the end of the day.
It's interesting you mention an Australian who is an up-and-coming youngster, because when you described that, it gave me a little bit of throwback memories for Yorkshire fans of Mitchell Starc in 2012, when Yorkshire got as close as they've ever got to lifting this trophy. Runners up against Hampshire in the final. Starc took 21 wickets in the competition that season. And you think of Mitchell Starc now, 13 years on, as an established household name. But back then, almost a version of Sutherland now, he was working his way up in the professional game. It's, of course, a competition that's not been kind to Yorkshire. Yorkshire are one of just 4 teams to have never won the T20 Plus and have only made finals day 3 times. There was that appearance in 2012 I mentioned. In 2016, a loss against Durham in the semi-final under the captaincy of Alex Lees with Jason Gillespie as head coach. And then in 2022, a loss against Lancashire in the semi-final after that epic 1-run win in the quarter-final away at Surrey. So Yorkshire hoping to write a bit of positive history this season under David Milan against a side in Northamptonshire Steelbacks who have often punched above their weight for the relative resources that they've had. Northamptonshire Steelbacks' best history has often been in this competition recently. Winners in 2013 and 2016. They've also been at finals day in 2009 and 2015. And the Steelbacks made it through the group stage second last season, but Yorkshire did beat them when they met at Wantage Road. So outhead David Milan's side hoping for a repeat result tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, the results of T20 can often hinge on 1 or 2 players having a really good night. It's probably the one with the most lottery affected to it, rather than county championship where you're playing over 4 days. But that doesn't make it any less important or any less exciting. And there'll be a number of players out there who are going, well, I'm going to be, if it's to be, it's going to be me. And I'm going to be the one who steps up. And I'm going to be the one who makes this evening game my game, because that's what it's all about. You've got to turn up to make sure that you're in it to win it. So let's hope that they can do that. And it's a glorious night here at Headingley. It was pretty grotty this morning, first thing, but it's absolutely a summer's evening now here at Headingley. So everything to play for.
Yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's almost like the sun has timed its arrival perfectly for the first ball. Matthew Milnes has got the ball in his hand. Didn't play a T20 for Yorkshire last season. And in truth, since moving ahead of 2023 campaign from Kent, has had a bit of an injury-ravaged couple of seasons with Yorkshire, but he does have history in the Blast with Kent in 2019. He took 22 wickets. He was key to Kent going on to win the competition. And here he is bowling the first ball of Yorkshire's new Blast season, which is a dot just guided out to point. Your two openers for Northants, Ricardo Vasconcelos and Matthew Bretsky, both of whom were impressive in the Blast last season. Bretsky, Northants' leading T20 run scorer in 2024. Power play time, of course. We've got a deep square leg and a deep third and a slip in as well. Yorkshire on the attack early. Beautifully driven through cover point. What a shot from Vasconcelos. What a way to get off the mark.
And one thing that Headingley is renowned for is if you beat that infield, it's almost no point chasing it because it's going to go to the boundary at a rate of knots. What we've got here is a strip of, and you can see that on the replay. That was just a glorious shot.
I think you were going to say exactly what I was thinking to mention, which is square of the wicket. It flies. That's just guided away, and that's going to go for 4 as well to one of the shorter pockets. So back-to-back boundaries for Vasconcelos.
Yeah, I was going to say that, the strip across the middle are all either wickets or practice strips for bowling before the game, practicing in nets. So if the ball gets onto onto that area, it just races away. It's like lightning.
Milnes has got to find a response here. No change in the field. It's nurdled away. So Matthew Bretsky will take strike for the first time. Bretsky, who was impressive last season for Northants in this competition, has been with the Lucknow Super Giants in the IPL, but has not got the playing time he might have wanted there, and has played in all 3 formats for South Africa. Watch his strength through extra cover and down the ground. He's good on the pull shot as well. Left-hand, right-hand combination, as so many teams want to so often do, but it is essentially the same field mapped out with deep third and deep square leg out.
Yeah, I think that left-handed, right-handed just does cause the fielders to have to think.
Nice length from Milnes. That's about where you want to be on this pitch. Having had a chat with a few people in advance, you either want to be nailing your Yorkers, sort of 1 to 3 metres, that kind of area is known, or in that 5 to 8 metre kind of spot, and that was about there from Milnes. It's a very unforgiving pitch to bowl bouncers on at Headingley because of exactly what we discussed. Square of the wicket, because of all the practice pitches, it will absolutely fly. Beautifully bowled by Milnes, cuts inside and beats Bretsky. That's a nice way to finish an eventful first over. A couple of boundaries, but some encouraging signs for Matt Milnes, who Yorkshire fans, after all his injuries, will be delighted to see back bowling quick. 9 for none after 1.
That one cut back between bat and pad and just went through. It didn't catch the edge, unfortunately, for Yorkshire, but a great ball there by Milne. That showed you one of the good balls to bowl. The 2 best balls to bowl, but they're the most difficult, are Yorkers and wide Yorkers. But if you get those wrongs, they become full tossers, which becomes the easiest ball to hit. So the back of a length, bowling hard into the wicket is probably the ball to go for more often than not. And it's important that they know what their stock ball is before they start experimenting too much. And now we're going to get a look at our first Will O'Rourke.
O'Rourke charging into Vasconcelos from the pavilion end. His first ball on debut for the White Rose. That's a very nice start. Good hustle from Vasconcelos to get a quick single. For those relatively unfamiliar with the 23-year-old, it's his first domestic stint outside New Zealand, but burst onto the scene in February last year with 9 for 93 in a test match. Figures across the test against South Africa at Hamilton. That was the best figures in history by a New Zealand men's debutant. And he's consistently been impressive in both international and franchise as well as domestic cricket since then.
And at 6'4", he can use that full height to really cause the batter some trouble.
Well, Will O'Rourke with a bouncer that briefly had Bretsky in trouble, flashes of the contest.
With that, you'll see here, it's almost an uppercut, but I think it took a thick edge off the bat, or if I'm being generous, that was a good uppercut there from...
I'm not sure the control was
from
exactly
Bretsky.
What Bretsky might have wanted, but he's off the mark. And O'Rourke this time is being smashed through extra cover. That's a fantastic shot from Bretsky. Look how he stands tall as well. This is perfection.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how high it went over that fielder. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 double-decker buses at least. So I don't think he had much chance of that. He was in the right line, just needed to be about 20 foot tall to get near that one.
He scored 460 runs last season at an average of 38 and a strike rate of 152, and he's showing us why here. So a much-needed dot ball for Yorkshire on, should say as well, what is a high-scoring ground. The last 4 seasons here, the average first innings total in a Blast game has been 183, and the average winning first innings total has been 200. Highest successful chase has been 210.
Yeah, that's takes some doing, doesn't it? But as you say, it's the ball just rockets to the boundary if you evade the inner field.
Beautiful shot, square in the wicket from Bretsky. Third boundary of the over. Just uses the pace of O'Rourke against him.
Yeah, split the field here, so he just punched that through and just punched it between point and backward point. And of course, in the power play, you haven't got that cover on the cover boundary, so that's a good shot there yet again.
Just having a little conversation with his skipper O'Rourke, speaking to Darvin Milan, who's at mid-off, but still the same field. And a dot to finish, a welcome dot for Will O'Rourke. It's an expensive over. Ends up going for 15. And after 2 overs, Northampton will be very happy with that. 24 without loss.
Yeah, and one of the things that Yorkshire will be trying to do is try to nick a wicket in the power play, because it's important to make sure that you try and get the upper hand. Now it's turned to see Will Sutherland coming on from the Howard stand end.
It's very much the modern way. You sometimes see 6 overs in the power play bowled by 6 different bowlers. And Will Sutherland getting his first chance to make an impact for Yorkshire. Grass said that it's very adaptable in red and white ball cricket, bowling in different phases, batting in the middle order. Fans can get their first chance to see him from the Howard stand end on to Vasconcelos. And that's a very nice start from Will Sutherland, born in East Melbourne. Yorkshire have got him for the last group stage and rounds 8 and 9 of the county championship. Made his debut for Victoria back in 2019. Those numbers are from his recent campaign in the Big Bash, a best of 3 for 14. He also actually scored 70 in the same game to take Player of the Match award. And again, Sutherland beating the bat. So a pretty good way to make a first impression, starting with a couple of dots.
And both those balls have been widely applauded by the crowd that's building out here. So they'll be pleased that they've got an Aussie on their side at this stage.
And Sutherland himself a third dot, so just building a bit of pressure here on Vasconcelos, who is 10 off 9.
Yeah, it's always interesting when the right-arm bowler comes round the wicket to the left-hander straight away, because they're hoping to cramp left-hander or space, because what they don't want to do is come out here and push the ball across them. Left-handers just look glorious, don't they, when the ball goes all through point. So he's trying to really did cramp that ball.
bowl Sutherland. So Margaret coming around, someone who Yorkshire fans will be excited to see. He said, in his own words, "I'm not coming off heaps of cricket. We finished mid-March with Victoria, so it's been nice for me to get outside. 10 days have definitely been the right amount of time for me to prepare." Goes on the scoop. Oh, delightfully done by Vasconcelos. Well, he had to do something different after 3 dots in the over, and that certainly was different.
Yeah, and that was a good shot from Vasconcelos. As you say, he's struggled for the first 3 balls, and then he's thinking, right, it's pretty consistent. It's coming to me on off stump or just outside, so he just moved across and just angled the bat to ramp it down.
Voice of Yorkshire President Dr. Jane Powell. That's
chance of a run out.
Mid-on. Direct hit could have been close. Usunars, I think that would have just about been okay. Vasconcelos, even with a direct hit from mid-on. 30 without loss with 1 ball left of the 3rd over. As well that ends well. Northamptonshire, well, that slow-mo suggests it's pretty tight.
Yeah, I must admit, I thought it was tighter than you thought it was at one stage. I thought there was a definite chance of a run out there.
Deep mid-wicket has gone out, and 3rd has come up, so he's got to be really disciplined with his line here, Sutherland. Everyone's up on the offside. Flicked away, 6 runs, 6 of the best. That's absolutely huge. It thuds into the big screen. That's an absolutely magnificent shot from Matthew Bretsky to finish the 3rd over, which had started well for Yorkshire with 3 dots, but it ends up going for 12 off it. Sutherland smashed away for 6 by Bretsky, who looks in very good rhythm for his 20 off 8. It's been shuffled in the commentary box. Dr. Jane Powell has taken a well-earned rest. Delighted to say alongside me is someone who has been in classical big-hitting form for the Yorkshire women's team this season, including a high score of 165 not out against Derbyshire. A very good sunny evening to Amy Campbell.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
Good start from these two, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been quite clinical, hasn't it?
Milnes is back to try and put a break on things. Yorkshire need a wicket. Milnes just finding the thigh pad. Milnes has got the same field that he had for his first over, but he's now switched ends from the Howard Stand end to the pavilion end. He's got a deep square leg and deep 3rd in 5-4. Shafa Chauhan is warming up. Yorkshire have 6 bowling options, of course, which Chauhan is 1. There's also the spin of Don Bess. Oh, goes on the scoop again, and that will run away for more runs. Vasconcelos getting funky to very good effect indeed.
It's great innovation there. And it just doesn't look like a high-risk shot either.
Yeah, particularly when he's got fine leg up.
Yeah, he's staying really still, head's in a good position.
And it gives a dilemma here as well for Yorkshire captain Milan about what he wants to do. Back of a length and hit hard. That's going to go away for 4 as well through Cow. So it really is raining boundaries here for Northants, having been sent in by Yorkshire. And it's another one for Vasconcelos.
Yeah, he didn't quite get all of that there, did he? But it's just racing away today. Is it just me, or the gaps in the field just looking absolutely huge?
Yeah, square of the wicket particularly. It's always going to fly at Headingley.
Yeah.
So it can be a very unforgiving place to bowl in a power play. Oh, that's full, and there might be deep square leg out there, but all they're going to do is fetch it. 6 for Vasconcelos, who goes 4-4-6 against Milnes after a dot from the first ball of the over. And suddenly, it is 50 up for Northants off just 3.4.
Yeah, it's a great shot. One of my favourites, that when they just barely move. It's a really great swing.
Just whips
Nice
the
and
wrist
still.
through as well.
Gorgeous. Really confident start from these two.
Better from Mills. He thinks he's got and found the edge. Umpire not interested.
Let's have another look at that.
Well, Milnes felt like there might be a little tickle on that from Vasconcelos.
Yeah, too close to say for me.
Yeah, we don't have a hot spot up here. Milnes still he got.
I'm going to say no.
Can you tell him he was a batter? Tries to go on the scoop again. That time he's trying to get it more through third. It's a dot to end. Another good over for Northants. 50 for none of 4 then. Vasconcelos has 29 of them. And Bretsky has 20 as well. And right now it's Yorkshire who've got to find a response. And it's always a sign in a moment like this that a fielding team needs something, because there's a bit of a mini conference going on for Yorkshire.
Yeah, there's like a little huddle of them over at the Howard stand at the minute.
I think it's always when you get to the point where at least 3 are there, that's a sign. And at one point there was briefly 5. Yorkshire just having a little think about what to do. So O'Rourke is now changing ends. So we're going to get O'Rourke from his Howard stand end.
I'm impressed with his speed so far, mind.
Yeah, he did look
Big
absolutely
lad.
rapid in that first over. He went for 15. Crank it up here. That's nice again from Will O'Rourke. Yorkshire will be looking to for a bit of a moment of magic here. And do you know what's interesting as well? Dr. Jane Powell was mentioning earlier his release point. Even when you Google Will O'Rourke release point, you get hundreds of results. It's pretty well talked about, because if you watch with that 6'4" height, chucking that arm extension, it's well above 7 foot. That's not fun. Back of the length, that's straight at point, so a couple of dots here to help Yorkshire build some pressure. We know it is a high-scoring ground here at Headingley. Average first inning score in a T20 blast game across the last 4 years up at 183.
At this rate, I would say that maybe get the 200 up. That's well bowled though.
Back of a length and absolutely smoked. That is literally out of the ground. That's a huge 6 from Matthew Bretsky. What a shot of authority against Will O'Rourke. Overseas against overseas. And he's literally deposited him out of the venue.
Spoke a bit too soon there, Michael. Or if there's someone on the boundary there that get it into the crowd.
Amy Campbell would know plenty about that.
That was a lovely shot, isn't it? That swivel, gorgeous.
There's been to like about this from both openers, and there's a little bit of a delay needed here because we're on to spare ball territory. Umpires just had to bring out a box and pick out a new one because...
Where did that go then? Did it go over?
Literally has gone over the back of the stand.
That's the dream, that, isn't it?
Yorkshire
out the ground.
Now with a not quite so new ball that's a replacement, they can find a couple of wickets to change the complexion of this one. Right now, Vasconcelos and Bretsky fly. Just losing his line, so we'll have to re-bowl with that one. Reminder, plenty of games going on tonight across the and South Group. In the South Group, Hampshire, Essex, Kent, Gloucestershire. In the North Group, Derbyshire, Leicestershire, Birmingham Bears, Nottinghamshire. And also in the South Group, Surrey versus Somerset. This time is smashed away through the offside. That's almost gone for 6 through cover point as well. So both openers in the mood here, and Northampton not struggling for boundaries.
Yeah, I'm just wondering here, where are they supposed to be bowling here? Because anything short is going, anything a little bit full is going. These two are really putting on a good show for us. Get this going.
Yeah, quite an unforgiving time. Milan is just having a conversation with O'Rourke, and he's bringing short third up and putting deep mid wicket out. So it's now deep square leg out and deep mid wicket out as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout.
Beautiful cover drive from Bretsky, and even the most passionate Yorkshire supporter watching this would have to admire the battership from both these two here. You won't see many better drives on the up than that this season.
Yeah, that was pretty unbelievable. I just think the value you get for your runs here for playing proper shots is so good. Unfortunately, on the wrong side.
From a Yorkshire point of view, hoping to find a response. The vast majority of the runs here have been scored in boundaries, even for a power play. It's been high on the boundary count.
Yeah.
This time, I think that was a little slower ball. I'll bring just one for Bretsky, who is on to 35. So Vasconcelos has hit 5 4s and a 6, and Bretsky's hit 4 4s and 3 6s. So it's a very commanding start here for Northants. 66 without loss after 5.
Is that power play done?
Not quite. Still one over left for Yorkshire to negotiate. Yorker that landed it.
Who's going to have the last one then?
Enjoy your stag do, Nothing. Congratulations. One of the messages on the big screen. Great to see plenty in here tonight. Found increasingly full. Spin into the action for the first time. It's not too often you necessarily see it this early in proceedings, but I think scoreboard has dictated. Captain Milan has turned, if you'll pardon the pun, to Don Best from our end, the pavilion end. Starts being nibbled into the onside. They'll want to, but they won't take it. Some good attacking, aggressive work in the field to ensure that there won't be a second.
Yeah, that's well bowled and well fielded. I think they made a good choice here, bringing on spin, especially against a lefty.
Yeah, that classic left spinner to left-hander matchup. We'll have to rebowl that. That's wide. Just 5 balls left of the power play for Yorkshire to get through. But this first of Yorkshire's last games tonight. Oh, that's a bottom edge, and that might dribble away for 4. It does dribble away for 4. Yorkshire not getting any luck at the moment. It's nutmegged the keeper. Absolutely nothing that Harry Duke could do about that one. And it's 4 fortunate runs for Vasconcelos.
Really unlucky, but, very good signs for us there. Spin seems to be having a good effect for Yorkshire here.
Yes, with a deep set onside field. Being worked for 1 by Vasconcelos. Content to take a single. Scored a quick fire 37 against Yorkshire Wantage Road last season, Ricardo Vasconcelos. He's almost past that here. He's a bit of an unusual player. He doesn't actually hit too many 6s. He's only hit 16 in his entire T20 career before tonight. 17, including today. But finally, Yorkshire do have a breakthrough. Spin does the trick. It's Don Bess. And it's 68 for 1. Changing the dynamic by bringing on a spinner in the last over of the power play. And Captain David Milan is rewarded for his boldness. It's the end of Bretsky, who's looked $1 million for his 36 off 17, but has to go now.
Yeah, that was a really good knock from him there. Nice to watch.
Some beautiful shots from Matthew Bretsky. 4 4s and 3 6s. Yorkshire will be relieved to see the back of him, no doubt.
Relieved to see the back of that partnership. They seem to be working really well together there.
On to confirm for 36 of 15. Strike rate of 225 per 100 balls. Bess and Yorkshire have a breakthrough that they can build off. 73 for one then. Opening partnership were 73 and 5.5 overs. Northants would definitely have taken that one being sent into bat. Justin Broad is out there now. Broad is off the mark immediately. Broad, a 24-year-old all-rounder from Cape Town.
Yeah, nicely worked into the leg side there. It's always nice to get a single off your first ball, just get things ticking.
And the strike back to Vasconcelos. Will he go for it? Still in the power play, of course. Vasconcelos also content to just nudge for now. So that will bring to an end the power play. One that Northants will be the happier with, no doubt. But Yorkshire do at least have a wicket from it, thanks to Tom Bess. After a few more thoughts from Amy Campbell about what she's seen in the first 6 overs, she'll be joined by Aaron Barnes.
Well, hello, Amy.
Hello.
Hello, yeah, it's a lovely evening, isn't it, so far?
It is, it's gorgeous.
Lovely timing as well with that wicket from Dom Bess, an inspired change in bowling there from the captain.
It was a very good change, I think.
Certainly was, and I'm a big fan of this change in bowling as well. It's Jaffa Chauhan who will bowl here from the Howard stand ends. A little bit of leg spin here, brought in by Dawid Malan in the 7th over. He's bowling to Ricardo Vasconcelos. Works that round the corner out towards deep backward square leg. And that will be a single. Amy, I've got to ask so far in terms of some of the batting that we've seen so far. I mean, Bretsky obviously probably the more aggressive of the two, but from a Northants perspective, as opposed to a Yorkshire point of view, it's been quite a good start, hasn't it?
It's been a brilliant start. And they actually they didn't have to do anything stupid either. They were kind of just playing really good, high quality shots.
Well, here is Chauhan to Broad. Broad goes for the sweep. He's played that rather fine out towards deep backward square leg. Will just be the single. Yeah, I mean, that is exactly the start that they would have hoped for, to be honest, with Bretsky and Vasconcelos. It was a prominent and proficient opening partnership last season, especially Bretsky. I mean, Bretsky had an unbelievable campaign in a Northants shirt. And as for Yorkshire, this man on your screen now, Jaffa Chauhan, 17 wickets last season. Here he is bowling. That one is short and hacked away down towards deep square leg. Will just be another single, keeps that scoreboard ticking.
Keeps it ticking, but also I'm enjoying the lack of boundaries currently.
Yeah, you can tell
He's doing well. The spin's really slowing them down.
It has, and this is exactly what spin does. That's why as a spin bowler, you've got to almost put your hand up to the skipper sometimes and say, put me in. Here is Chauhan again, this time a reverse from Broad. It just evades the fielders there in the in circle for Yorkshire. 4 more there from Justin Broad, who is displaying a great deal of shots and stroke selection here.
So it's quite a brave shot. You've got 2 very tall men standing there in that corner. But yeah, that just shows the confidence that Broad is bringing to the crease.
Yeah, that's a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And in terms of the batting order as well, we thought that David Willey would have come in at 3, but that wasn't the case. That one slightly shorter from Chauhan, just drilled in towards the captain, Dawid Malan. I must say, I love watching Jaffa Chauhan, a fine young spin bowler.
He is. He's a little bit quicker, isn't he?
Yes.
Gives you less time to think.
He does. I'll touch upon his bowling in a little bit more detail in a second. That one is just clubbed back to the bowler.
It's a great over, that.
It is. It's a wonderful over. Goes for just 7 runs, and at the end of the 7th, Northamptonshire are 82 for 1. Yeah, in terms of Chauhan as a bowler, he is a lot skiddier. He's a lot faster. But if you actually have a look at his release point, there's not too much difference between his leg break, his top spinner, and his googly, which is what makes him so difficult to pick.
If you can't pick it, you're struggling.
Yeah, you definitely are, especially with him, because, as I said, he has got lots of variation. The googly, we hope to see that, of course, throughout tonight, and also has a lovely front-of-the-hand slider. But it's Dom Bess here from the Kirkstall Lane end, bowling here to the left-handed Vasconcelos, tickled around the corner. That will just be another single. Vasconcelos moves on to 38.
It's great from these two. Really good partnership from these two bowlers.
It is, and we're just seeing a slight change in the field here as deep backward point is just pushed backward. Best bowling here to Broad. Jams it into the pads of the right-hander. They'll think about coming back for two, but there's only a single there. That's some good fielding from Will Sutherland.
Yeah, it looks like they're just piling the pressure on. Broad coming in there fresh. Giving Vasconcelos a little bit of room.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always good, isn't it? Of course, Vasconcelos is the more set of the two batting options out here for the Steelbacks at the minute, but yeah, Broad has done a fine job in these early stages as Vasconcelos drives that one firmly down towards Will Sutherland. It's long off, will just be another single.
Yeah, they're playing this really well, aren't they?
They are, and it comes back to the modern approach to T20 cricket, of course. A lot of it is dealing in boundaries, but keeping that scoreboard ticking is ever so important. As Bess bowls here, desperately unlucky on that occasion. Broad gave himself a lot of room, and in the end that has gone for 4 runs. Slightly streaky that for Northants, but 4 more added to the total nonetheless.
Yeah, that's seriously unlucky, isn't it? He's given himself a lot of room there, hasn't he? Not quite sure. I can see what he was doing, obviously, you know, cover an extra in, but not needed just yet.
Well, let's see what Bess can come up with after that. That one is chipped up in the air. Bess almost dives across goalkeeper style to try and take the court and bowled. In the end, it is just another single, though. But I'll tell you what, this is some fine bowling here from the two Yorkshire spin bowlers. Bowling in tandem, of course, as we just see the replay there of Dom Bess's attempted caught and bowled. I mean, 1 for 17 from 2 overs. Not bad going, especially when the opposition are 90 for 1 after 8.
Yeah, they've really done well here to rein it back and, you know, apply a little bit of pressure on Broad as well.
Well, it'll be Chauhan to continue here from the Howard stand end. Got plenty of protection out here, and I think yourself and Michael had a conversation about the dimensions, Amy. We'll touch upon that after this ball from Chauhan, and there is another aerial sweep. Bisects the field and goes all the way for 6. Justin Broad is coming out the gates on absolute flames here.
Yeah, he's done very well to get that square in between the two fielders there on the boundary. Very well placed.
Very well placed indeed. Moves on to
form.
18 already, 2 4s and a 6 to boot. How can Chauhan respond here? The Yorkshire leg spinner. Well, Broad goes aerial again. Shouts of catch it in the crowd, and that might be an unbelievable bit of fielding. It is indeed. Great stuff in the deep. Cuts it down to just 2 runs in the end. Absolutely magnificent work. Hopefully we get the replay.
Yeah, we will do, I'm sure. Very impressive. We see a lot of that in the blast, don't we?
Oh, that is absolutely outstanding.
Done so well to cut that angle off.
Chauhan again gives that a little bit more flight. Slog swept there by Broad just for the single. It is funny though, isn't it, Amy, of course, in the modern game. We look at that and we almost go, well, it's just part and parcel of the T20 blast now. But that is a magnificent effort. It's Will Sutherland down there, isn't it, the number 50?
Yeah, I think height's on his side as well, which also helped a little bit.
Here is Chauhan again, this time bowling to Vasconcelos.
But yeah, that is the standards now, and I feel like it's a really important part of the game now, the fielding.
Well, it is, especially for spin bowlers, isn't it? You've got to back them up.
Yeah.
Here is Chauhan again to Vasconcelos. Vasconcelos goes for the sweep. There's a big appeal there for Chauhan.
Let's have a look at this then. Looked pretty confident there, didn't he? That's pitching outside a little bit.
Yeah, I think with the angle, of course, he's coming around the wicket.
Yeah.
Or over, sorry, to the left-hander as opposed to around, and as a result, the impact is outside. So here is Chauhan again. Vasconcelos utilising the back foot shot there, and that will be the 100 up for the Northamptonshire Steelbacks here in the 9th over. It's been a lightning fast start, and of course the Steelbacks coming into this season with plenty of confidence. Finished in 2nd place in the North Group in 2024, and one of the trademarks of this side was their batting with the likes of Bretsky and Vasconcelos, David Willey. You've got Ravi Bopara, who is essentially Mr. T20 Blast, isn't he? He's been in it since the very first season in 2003, and even in terms of those lower order hitters, Lewis McManus on the sweep shot is going to be an absolute pain, so could be a pretty big score loading here as Dom Best bowls here to Vasconcelos.
Yeah, and it comes to like how do they want to manage that? Obviously, they've got Willie to come in as well, haven't they? And to build a partnership here. And
that one just squeezed away by Vasconcelos, who moves on to 41.
They always say you want to set batter in, don't you? And Vasconcelos is doing really well right now. If these two can get a partnership. And then they bat real deep. They're going to go big at the end. I mean, it's working so far.
Certainly is. Can Dom Best get the breakthrough, though, as Broad again goes for another fine sweep. There'll be a chase on in the outfield, and that, again, is some great work. Even though it has been a slightly expensive start, this, for the home side, the fielding in the outfield and the deep has been very good so far. So some more solid work there for Yorkshire. Northamptonshire 102 for 1. Best bowls here to Vasconcelos. Clips that off the hips. Think about coming back for a second. There was never 2 on there, so that will just be a single.
Yeah, Best is doing well here to just ball at his body. I'm going to work it around. Not giving them any space to release the arms.
Best once more. That's a reverse sweep attempted by Justin Broad. Very audacious, that, especially with the man still inside the circle. As a result, it will just be a single. So I believe we'll have a double change in the comms box at the end of this overall correction. We'll just have the one change. We'll be saying goodbye to Amy, and we'll be bringing back Dr. Jane Powell into the mix, as this again is just worked into that leg side by Vasconcelos. Some easy runs here is the Northamptonshire opener. So that is the end of over number 10. The Steelbacks 105 for 1. Vasconcelos on 43. Justin Broad also out there on 23.
Which means it's time for Vertu Carpool Karaoke. Sing along if you know the words.
And there you go on your screen. You can see something new for the 2025 Vitality T20 Blast. It's the Vertu Carpool Karaoke, trying to get some engagement in this crowd at Headingley tonight. It is a glorious, glorious evening here in the north of the country, and I'm delighted to be joined by the dulcet tones of Dr. Jane Powell. Jane, how are we?
I'm good, thanks, Aaron. How are you?
Oh, very good, to be honest. Of course, we'd like a few more wickets from a Yorkshire perspective, but in terms of what we've seen so far, the blast is back.
It certainly is, and there's I've just been told there's over 7,000 people in tonight, so that's pretty good going, really. So I hope they're all enjoying it, and just I'm sure they'll enjoy it a bit more if Yorkshire take a few more wickets and then knock off the runs.
Absolutely, that is the job of the day, isn't it, for the home side? Sutherland here to Vasconcelos. That's a fine delivery, play and miss there from the Northants opener. We'll see the replay there. I think he just took the pace off there, did the Australian all-rounder.
Yeah, it sort of went straight through him, didn't it? Which, when you think Vasconcelos has been out there since the start of the innings and is on 43, that's quite a good achievement by Sutherland.
Certainly is. Well, what can he concoct with the next delivery? Here to Vasconcelos. That one attempted to be clubbed through the covers. David Milan, the Yorkshire skipper, doing the fielding on that occasion. So it's a dot ball. And of course for Northants, that's what they don't want at this stage, is dot ball pressure. Of course, conversely for Yorkshire, dot ball pressure, produce some wickets. And look, the fact is T20 is a fickle game. All it takes is for, let's say, this partnership to be broken, and then of course you get another couple of quick-fire wickets, and what's looking like 210, 220 can easily go towards 185 or 190. Sutherland prepares to bowl here from the Howard stand end, goes short. Again, a nice bit of variation there from the Aussie quick. Of course, has plenty of experience in this format. He's the captain of the Melbourne Renegades in the Big Bash Down Under.
And that was well stopped by Harry Duke behind the wicket. It wasn't an easy one because it suddenly took off and he had to really extend himself to make sure that he got his gloves behind it.
He did. Some good keeping there from Harry Duke, and of course he is a fine gloveman.
One of the things I never understand here is what's the optimum time for the sun when it comes to fielding?
Well, we'll try and answer that question after this ball from Sutherland. It's another short one. It's a big whack attempted there from Vasconcelos. Shot at the stumps. Most a chance of a run out there. Would have been a little bit of a gift there for the Steelbacks, as we just see the replay of that one. Vasconcelos had to immediately put on the afterburners. Was a good throw in the end, put him under pressure.
And what I mean by the sun being optimum, it gets really difficult to field. We can already see Chauhan there at, who's batting, right-hander, mid-on. We can already see him shielding his eyes from the sun, and there comes a time when it's a nightmare fielding because all you see is the sun in your eyes and you can't see the ball.
Yeah, just looking around, I mean, a few of the Yorkshire fielders, of course, have got sunglasses. Whether or not they've just got them out of view at the minute, or whether or not they'll be brought on in a second, who knows. But, yeah, you never want the sun going too low and dipping into your eyeliners. Broad again tries to play that one fine, only as far as deep backward square leg across the carpet for a single.
Yeah, that was definitely a slower ball. See him roll his fingers around that one, and as a result, then Broad just couldn't time it.
No, he couldn't, and we've seen actually this so far from Sutherland, the slower balls and the off-cutters as well, just trying to take pace off of what has been an excellent pitch for batting so far, and he's bowling here to Vasconcelos. That one turned around the corner. Will just be a single, as Yorkshire have got some protection down there. That will be the end of the over from Will Sutherland. He currently has those figures of none for 15 from his 2 overs so far. He's done well to come back there, I'd say, the Aussie quick. And interestingly enough, actually, we can see there with the graphic on screen, in terms of the bowling speeds, one of those delivery was basically 61 miles an hour compared to the high 70s and 80s. That is a pretty noticeable change in terms of the velocity of the cricket ball. Clever bowling that from Will Sutherland, it has to be said. He's done well there. I think he's just began to find the correct speed for the pitch. Best bowls here from the Coatswold Lane end. It's a little bit of a full toss, flashed out towards backward points, and Justin Broad, he is a little bit of a greyhound between the wickets. Is the Northants all-rounder, has plenty of sporting pedigree in the family as well. His dad Neil was the former UK #1 in tennis.
Oh wow, that's a good fact.
It's a very good fact, and actually I was speaking with a couple of the Northamptonshire media guys as best bowls here to Broad, who again makes room. It's a little bit of a whack down the ground. It's gone all the way for 6 runs. Justin Broad is well and truly in the mood here at Headingley.
Yeah, I think once you get that good start, then it frees up the batters coming in after that opening partnership. And here we see him just shift his feet outside leg stump. Sorry, Bess is bowling so quickly that we had an appeal there for the next ball. We were just seeing the replay from the previous ball when he hit the 6, and already it's moved on.
It certainly has, yeah. Justin Broad no longer on strike. That was a leg by there as Vasconcelos is bowled straight through the gate there from Dom Bess, who gets his second wicket of the night. He's been persistent, he's been consistent, and Dom Bess getting the big breakthrough there. Ricardo Vasconcelos, the dangerous Northamptonshire opener, departs for 46 from 38 deliveries. It's a fine knock, but that is also some fine bowling from Dom Bess. Northamptonshire 116 for 2 in the 12th over.
It's one of those that every spinner loves to see, the middle stump being knocked out of the hole, you know, and it's just for somebody who's batted so well, then I'm sure Dom Bess will be delighted with that delivery. It just seemed to rip it a little bit more, and it just shot through on the batter.
It certainly did. And I tell you what, as soon as one dangerous left-hander departs, another one enters the middle. It's the former Yorkshire man, David Willey. Of course, a veteran of the T20 blast. A fun fact about David Willey, of course, he's played for both of these sides. Maybe we'll touch upon this in a little bit more detail in the run chase, but he's actually taken more wickets than any other player in T20 matches between Northamptonshire and Yorkshire. He's taken 16.
There's always a little bit extra when you come across ex-players or people you know very well.
Well, here is best to David Willey, plays that back to the bowler. Again, this is some quintessential finger spin here from Dom Bess. Just putting it on that penny piece. There's not too much in terms of the variations, but he's just keeping it basic, and he's doing very well so far. It's not so much in terms of great turn or anything ridiculously outside of the box as that over comes to an end. Exceptional stuff that from Dom Bess, keeping it very tight.
And lovely to see the respect there of David Willey for Dom Bess. He's probably as nervous as the fielders are as well, because whilst we know that he's destructive once he gets going, the last thing you would want to do is return to Headingley and not get very many runs. So Dom Bess just made sure that he kept it in the right area, and he was treated with the respect that it deserved as Jaffa Chauhan comes on from the Howard stand end now with his leg spin and googlies.
Yep, this should be interesting here. Bowling to Justin Broad. It's Chauhan to the right-hander again. Goes for that sweep out towards deep square leg just in front. That time it's Matt Revis doing the fielding on that occasion. Also, just to give you a reminder of Dom Bess's figures, 2 for 29 from 4 overs in what has been an electrifying start to proceedings for the visitors. That is some bowling efforts from Dom Bess. Really, really good stuff as Jaffa Chauhan just having a word here with Dawid Malan, bringing about a change in the field. Adam Lyth comes across. So it will be Chauhan to David Willey. Gives that plenty of flight. Willey meets that on the full toss down towards a wideish long on for a single.
Yeah, and Chauhan will be disappointed with that. He would be wanting it to just, the flight to just drop before it gets to the batter, so that they're not able to play it on the full. It's very easy to face leg spin if it's a full toss.
It definitely is. Here is Chauhan again. That one is aerial from Broad. It's going, it's gone all the way for 6 runs. Justin Broad is well and truly in the mood here in Leeds tonight. 2 4s, 3 6s. Moves on to 37 from just 18 deliveries. Goodness me, that is some shot.
The dad and mum trying to protect the youngster there in the crowd, and you certainly have to keep your eyes peeled tonight because they seem to be clearing the boundary with relative ease at the moment.
Well, they are, and it's up to Chauhan to try something a little bit different there. Changes up the pace, just darts it into the surface on that occasion, and it will be a single. Just a little bit of an answer to the live stream questions, of course. In terms of the boundary dimensions, it's 59 metres to Justin Broad on that onside, 60 metres on the other side, on the offside. So here is Chauhan to Willey. That is humongous. Straight into the Western Terrace. Will it be caught in the crowd? It's put down.
Put down in the crowd. They give the fielders some jip, and they can't hang on to it themselves.
Just getting a little bit of a consolation there from his mate as we see the replay of this dismissive pull shot from David Willey. rocks into it nice and early, and he can't believe it, can he?
Nearly missed his head and his hands there.
Here is Chauhan again, giving that plenty of flight, just pushed out into the offside. That'll be a quick single taken, and that will be the end of over number 13. Northamptonshire 132 for 2. Justin Broad, well, he's racing along at the minute. 38 from just 19 deliveries. David Willey also out there in the middle on 8 from 5 as Will O'Rourke prepares to bowl here from the Kirkstall Lane end. And for those wondering who the commentary team are tonight, well, we'll start with myself, Aaron Viles. And of course, we've got the Yorkshire president, Dr. Jane Powell, also with us tonight. We've got the excellent Michael McCann, as well as Yorkshire women's cricketer Amy Campbell. So you'll be hearing plenty from us over the course of this evening. And Jane, it looks as though it could be a pretty big run chase at this stage.
Yeah, it'll be exciting, won't it? You know, and you've already mentioned the dimensions of the ground, which means that most of these players out there will be thinking, well, even if I miss-hit it, if I make good connection, it'll be over the boundary. So we'll see a lot of 6s and 4s as O'Rourke comes in, and there's another one picked up and just placed over the boundary.
Well, I think that's the way that I describe it, to be honest, Jane. It was just placed. It was almost nonchalant, wasn't it, from David Willey, who really looks to be in a fine vein of rhythm here. Crikey, that is just a lovely, languid, almost lap over the top into the old pavilion.
Yeah, I think we need some catching practice in the crowd. I don't think we've seen one taken yet. They're always very quick to criticise the players on the field of play, but I haven't seen many taken in the crowd yet as O'Rourke comes in once again from the Kirkstall Lane end.
And that one again is clubbed out towards deep mid-wicket all the way for 6 runs. David Willey taking a real liking to Will O'Rourke in this over, starts off with back-to-back 6s. And well, we said the first one was almost dismissive. Well, that one is disdainful from David Willey.
Yeah, a little bit of a baptism of fire here for Will O'Rourke. I think he's playing on a wicket he's not familiar with. He's come from India where the ball doesn't bounce so high, doesn't come onto the bat so much. Over in Lucknow, I think he's been based. So he needs to adjust his length now.
He does, and also the pace as O'Rourke bowls here very wide. That's a fine riposte that's from the...
Yeah, almost a wide Yorker, which is a good ball to bowl in this situation.
Yeah, it certainly is. We'll see the replay of that one, just about keeping it in the tram lines. It was inches away from being a wide, but that is a great response from, of course, an international quality bowler here in O'Rourke. And I do wonder if Sutherland could just have a chat with him. He's there at mid-off at the minute, just say to utilise those pace variations as O'Rourke bowls here, and again he's whacked downtown there by Willey along the deck. They think about coming back for 2, but as has been the case on many an occasion in this innings, Yorkshire's ground fielding has been on the money, not allowing those ones to spiral into 2s.
That was the youngster Lythe there running in to field that one and get that ball back in quickly.
Oh, I mean, that is one of the great sights, isn't it? Not just in the T20 blast, but in county cricket, to be honest. Adam Lythe, an absolute legend of these parts. And, of course, he will be licking his lips at the prospect of batting on this surface tonight with that slightly shorter boundary on the leg side here from the Kirkstall Lane end. Here is O'Rourke for a 5th time in this over, bowling to Justin Broad. And that's a much more deft shot there from the German international.
Yeah, just guided down to 3rd man, wasn't it? You know, it's I'll leave David Willey to do the big hitting. I'll just give him the strike. And, you know, that's what it's all about when you're playing cricket, is building those partnerships and making sure that if your partner is the big hitter, let him have most of the strike. So that's a sensible shot. As you go into the later overs, then you've both got to be going, though.
Absolutely. Here is O'Rourke to Willey again. That one is drilled down towards Sutherland. There'll be a shy at the stumps. Good backing up there by O'Rourke. Prevents the overthrow, so will just be a single. And that will signal the end of over number 14. Northamptonshire 147 for 2. Broad on 39. David Willey on 22.
And after the first 2 balls of the over that were dispatched for 6, then O'Rourke pulled that back quite well. You know, I think the wide Yorker helped, and then just singles off the next 3 is a bonus time, really. If they can only get singles off the ball from now on, then Yorkshire will be very happy, and Northamptonshire will be looking to clear the boundary a few more times yet as Will Sutherland comes back on from the Howard stand end.
He does, and he's just having a little bit of a word there with his captain, David Milan. I think of the 2 overseas bowlers, Sutherland has just picked out the pace of this wicket. A bit better than O'Rourke in this first game. And Willie advances down the track and smokes it on the offside for 4 runs. Another vicious shot that from the former Yorkshire man.
Yeah, he just, because he came down the track, then the gap between a cover and mid-off suddenly opened up, and he was able to place that straight into that gap between those 2 fielders.
Sutherland it is again to Willie. Well, it's down the leg side, it's gone high up into the air. It won't be taken by a fielder. It's gone all the way for 6 runs. David Willie picking up where Bretsky and Vasconcelos left off. I mean, this is an assault so far from the Steelbacks, who, as we said, possess so much power in this batting lineup. David Willie showing off all the shots here. He is absolutely motoring. He's on 32 already.
It looks a very good batting track, doesn't it, at this stage? You've got to say, wow, you know, some fantastic shots, but it looks like they're being able to choose where they hit it. A number of preconceived shots, but if you execute it well, then that's okay. There's a bit of a change around in the field.
Sutherland to Willie, that one down the leg side. It will, unfortunately for Yorkshire, be given as a wide. Adds an additional run to the score here for the Steelbacks.
And he's brought fine leg up, so it would suggest that he's going to try and bowl a bit fuller rather than trying to dig it in too short at the moment, because unless Willie then tries to ramp him, it's catch-22 here.
Well, it's short again. There is a man out there. Will it? Oh, it won't carry. Great efforts in the end. It was Will Luxton out there patrolling the boundary rope. Just died on him in the end, and we thought for a second that was the moment.
What a fantastic effort that was. You know, he did well because he chose to go for the catch, but managed to get right behind it, because those are the ones that can sometimes go over the boundary for 4, but great effort there.
Yep, really good effort and commitment there from Will Luxton. And of course, he will also relish the opportunity to bat on this wicket a little bit later on. What is set to be a pretty sizable run chase this for the home side. Northamptonshire already 159 for 2.
Yeah, they're looking good for about 220, I would think, at the moment.
Would be a big, big score to try and chase down that for the men in blue. Oh, Broad again, that is gun barrel straight down the ground. There'll be a chase on for the fielder. Makes 4 more runs, this time for Justin Broad. Spoken a lot about David Willie and these barnstorming efforts from the former Yorkshire man, but Justin Broad, I tell you what, he's been brought up the order. Was usually playing in the middle order, middle to lower in 2024, but seems like it's been an inspired change in the batting order here for Darren Lehman. This time attempts the ramp, sends it the other way, and that'll be 4 more for Justin Broad, who moves on to 47 runs.
I'm not sure he knew much about that shot, but fortune favours the brave, and he was certainly brave. You'll see he turns to face the ball, and I'll do him a disservice there. He got the middle of the bat to it. It was just that bottom leg that twisted just as he hit it that made me think he didn't see it but he saw that right onto the middle of the bat, and that was a good shot from Broad.
Was a very, very good shot indeed, and just 3 runs away from what would be a 4th career 50 in the T20 format. Broad whisks that away, and as soon as we said it, it happens. Justin Broad brings up an outstanding 50 here at Headingley. It's the 4th of his blossoming T20 career. The change in the batting order for Northamptonshire has worked like a charm here. And I tell you what, Justin Broad has batted quite magnificently out here. Consists of 5 fours, 3 sixes as well. Exactly the kind of innings and efforts that the Steelbacks needed to provide a platform for those late order hitters.
Yeah, and I think Sutherland went for 24 runs off that over, you know, which is certainly a welcome to England, Will. It's not always easy playing cricket in England, and he's just found the might of Northamptonshire coming at him there with the number of runs they just hit off him.
Yep, brings about a change in the bowling as well, as Matt Milnes comes on to bowl here from the Kirkstall Lane ends. Just over the top of the field there from David Willey. It's another 4 off the bat of the Northant skipper. It's his 2nd in terms of the 4 column to go along with his 4 sixes. I mean, this has been absolutely devastating so far from David Williams. Let's not forget as well, with 4.5 overs of the innings still to remain here. Still got Safe Zabans, McManusons, of course, Ravi Baparat still to come. How does Milnes respond? Well, not quite the timing there from David Willey. As a result, will just be a single on that occasion. Moves the score on to 176 for 2.
It's becoming quite difficult for Harry Duke to receive the ball from the fielders. That sun is just dropped. You can see the shadows now, which means that the sun is just about eye level now for the fielders out there, and that is not easy at this stage.
No, it certainly isn't, and just adds in another factor, doesn't it, for Yorkshire to contend with as the sun dips here in the fine city of Leeds. It's Milnes, and again Broad goes for a reverse. There's an appeal there from the bowler. Umpire unmoved, and as a result, they will run through for the leg bye.
I know we're not directly behind, but that was a decent shout, I think.
To be honest, I would agree with that, Jane. Let's just see the replay of that again. I think the only thing in the umpire's mind there is the angle, of course. He's coming down and could have been sliding, but no harm in the appeal there from Matt Milnes as he charges in here to David Willey, who goes absolutely gargantuan again. Sends it flying, soaring into the crowd for 6. And this has been an exhibition so far. We've already seen Justin Broad reach his 50. David Willey just 6 runs away from what would be his first 50 of this campaign as well. Really come out of the blocks red hot.
Yeah, and yet another drop catch in the crowd. So yeah, not very good in the crowd tonight, but they're still going to have lots of practice, because I suspect Yorkshire will be trying to do the same as well when they come out to bat.
Well, it's Milnes again to Willey. Attempts to go agricultural on that occasion, just hack it through the onside, and as a result of the misfield there, a rare one. I think it might have actually been the first one we've seen here in this first innings. That one turns into 2, and is the pressure beginning to tell here for Yorkshire? Moves David Willey on to 46. One final delivery of the 16th over, and then we'll have a slight change in the comms box. I'll make way for the brilliant Michael McCann as Milnes bowls here to Willey. It's a full toss, only as far as Will Sutherland. It burst through the hands of the Australian, but Northamptonshire do scamper through for the single nonetheless. So I shall make way. You'll hear from the excellent Michael McCann in a few moments' time, but I'll leave you with some thoughts from Dr. Jane Powell.
So we've got 4 overs to go. We've played 16. They're on 186. 4 overs, you'd be looking for at least 10 and over. So you're looking at 226 minimum here. Probably more like 240, I would think, at this stage. And Yorkshire really do need to try and keep a lid on it, because obviously they've got to then go out and try and match and better the score that is posted. I think Northamptonshire have just battered really well, and they've just hit some great shots. I think the short boundary helps, and it's flying to all corners, but we'll see how the wicket truly is when both sides are battered on it. So Jaffa Chauhan is coming back on from the Howard stand end.
Number 33 from his first 3. Starts his final over with a much-needed dot. What is his first appearance in senior competitive cricket for Yorkshire this season? Hasn't played in the Championship so far. He has actually said that one of his aims for the summer is, in his words, another red ball 5-wicket haul this year. Down the track and absolutely thumped for 6 more. That's gone into the middle tier. That is a massive hit as the runs continue to pile up here. David Willey's half century is brought up with that smiting blow. 53 against his former club from just 20 balls, brought up with a 6th 6 to go with 2 fours. There he goes again. He's got plenty of that. This will take a good bit of fielding to cut off and keep to 1. So he made it Justin Broad's 50, took him 23 balls, and he's even faster from David Willey. After Vasconcelos and Gretzky set the platform up top. And as Yorkshire will know, David Willey will be more than handy with the ball later on as well. The platform is set for some late carnage here from Northampton. Yorkshire have got to do their best in the last 21 balls to put the brakes on. So the reverse, cleverly bowled by Chauhan, and it leaves Broad in a funny situation on the floor.
And every dot ball is like you can cheer.
He did really well to keep his back foot grounded here and not actually...
Yeah, wasn't sure that Duke collected it cleanly, so we probably need 3 or 4 replays for that one.
Smashed away, could be gone. 6 more. 6 more for Broad. It keeps raining maximums here at Headingley. Northamptonshire surging past 200 now. Just 1 run short of the milestone with 19 balls left. This is down the ground. This is completely mistimed. A conventional mid-off would have had an easy catch, but such is Yorkshire's luck. It's extra cover and long off converging to instead keep it to 2. So 201 for 2. End of the over. And swap up here. Dr. Jane Powell will make way for Amy Campbell. Was part of the Yorkshire women's team who start their blast campaign this Sunday when taking on Derbyshire Falcons, who they've already beaten a couple of times this season. And Amy alongside me, I'm sure won't mind me mentioning that in those 2 games she made just the 165 not out in one and 41 not out in the other one. Once again, very good evening, Amy.
Thanks, Michael. Sorry, my mic wasn't on there. Yeah, thanks for the mention.
So 3 overs left. How do you put the brakes on in a situation like this? I mean, you know what it's like when you're a batter and you're out there, the runs are on the board and the adrenaline's up. It'd be very hard to be stopped.
Yeah, I feel like they've built that platform to kind of, you know, whatever comes at me, I'm going to swing at it hard, and it's going their way at the minute, isn't it? Anything that, you know, even if there's a fielder there, it's going over their head, so... I mean, they've played the perfect innings here, really, haven't they?
tone was set up the top by Vasconcelos and Bretsky, and then the assault has been almost non-stop since. It is Sutherland who bowls final over. He has none for 39 from 3. Bess has been the pick of the bowlers so far. It's clever from Will Sutherland. Highest score that Northants have got in a T20 against Yorkshire. This surpasses their previous best of 180, which they got here at Headingley a couple of years ago. Highest ever total that Northants have posted was 231 for 5 against the Bears at Edgbaston back in 2018. So they'll fancy the chances of trying to go past that here. But that's another dot from Sutherland. Nicely bowled by Yorkshire's Australian all-rounder and overseas.
Yeah, I think taking the pace off here is a really, really good option. They seem to be dominating pace throughout this whole innings. It would be good to see some variation here.
Yeah, Sutherland has picked up a sense of the wicket well. That's down the ground, and this should be out, or maybe, yes, it is. It is gone. It's a good catch coming round by Matthew Milnes. He made that look easier than it was. He had to make decent ground away to his left-hand side. Looked for a time like it might, in fact, be one for mid-off, but good composure from Yorkshire in the field. David Willey has to go for an excellent 54 off just 24 balls. 6 sixes and 2 fours against his old team, but he's out-caught Milnes and a first Yorkshire wicket for Will Sutherland.
Yeah, seriously impressive batting by Willie there. He's going to know this ground well, isn't he? And as Jane said, there might be a bit of pressure on him, but he seems to have handled it really, really well there. And just seeing the ball like a beach ball. It's always nice when you're in flow like that, isn't it?
He certainly reminded his old team of his undoubted abilities, David Willey. Someone, such a big part of that side that had a white ball revolution for England from 2015 onwards under Owen Morgan. And domestic level is quite the player for Northamptonshire Steelbacks to still have in their ranks. Later on will be a threat with the ball, you'd imagine. Once upon a time, of course, was a big part of Northants winning this competition back in 2013. Saib is out there now. He's particularly clever at manipulating the ball behind square with a series of scoops and flicks and tricks, and I'm not at all surprised to see Yorkshire send deep third out to that end. You'd imagine that's something that I thought about a little in analysis, and in fact deep fine leg is going out as well for Sutherland. Saib's first ball is to that deep third fielder. Settle for 1. So Saib off the mark. Broad back onto strike to try and continue his merry hitting. He has 59 off 27, so he's striking at just above 2 a ball.
Yeah, not a bad stint, eh? He's done really well. I almost saw him as the more reckless one when he came in, and it seems to have paid off.
Short, and that's a beautiful shot. Just guided away for 6. It sounds like an odd thing to say, but he just uses the pace of Sutherland against him on the back foot. That is yet another maximum, and as good as anything we've seen tonight.
Well, I tell you what, Tammy Beaumont hit the exact same shot today, didn't she, when she hit that 100? Both feet off the ground.
It's a delight to watch with bat in hand. Short, and this time worked away to deep third by Broad, who will have to settle for just 1. So 18 overs gone. Northants 209 for 3. I did mention during the pitch report of the 27 blast games we've had in the last 4 seasons, 18 of those 27 have been won by the side batting first, 9 won by the team batting second. And, I know there was a couple of people a touch surprised when Darth Milan won the toss and chose to bowl. This one gentleman soaks up his moment of fame. Defensive fans in the crowd are a little more enthusiastic to find the camera in their direction. Just 2 overs left. Last over that will come from this Howard stand end. And it is O'Rourke, who has conceded 46 from his first 3 overs. Just adjusting his field here. He's going to have a deep fine leg and bringing mid on up. So Broad will eye a chance to go down the ground here. Straight field is up. And that's Toad. Scramble through for a single. Came off the bottom edge of Broad's bat. He has 67 off 30.
Yeah, I think Broad just lost his shape a little bit there. He's been holding it the whole time, and I think this is what happens, isn't it, towards the end? You just want to absolutely send it, and you just lose that shape. You just opened up there, and, mid on, mid off or up, so he just needs to hold it, really.
What you can't hear on the live stream, though, is there's a knowing smile from Amy Campbell, the middle order destroyer of Yorkshire's women's team.
Yeah, the queen of losing shape. Hitting to cow.
Oh, don't be so harsh on yourself. Zabe facing up. Just a second ball. Let's help that round the corner, and he's hit his second ball for 6. My goodness me, the faster it comes, the faster it goes tonight. Zabe's first boundary is a pulled 6.
You see that replay. I just feel like that shorter length just isn't working tonight at all, these shorter boundaries.
Yeah,
they're just getting right under it.
It's funny, it's something that analysts will tell you as well with the pitch map at Headingley. Bounces have to be really well directed to cause a threat statistically. Ball, and that has gone very, very, very high. And dropped by Don Bess. So Will O'Rourke does not get his first wicket for Yorkshire. And Don Bess, who's had a great game tonight with the ball in hand, can't hold on in the field.
Yeah, he'll be seriously disappointed with that, but it was in the air for a good 5 to 8 seconds there. I felt like it was never going to come back down.
I thought it was in the air for a good 2 business days. O'Rourke again, this time finds the outside edge. No luck for Will O'Rourke in this over, and that's gone for 4 through the legs. So you have to feel a little for Will O'Rourke here. A drop catch the previous ball, and that has gone for 4 when it shouldn't have done.
Yeah, signs of pressure kicking in here.
That's across, and then and it slips, so Northants up to 222 for 3. They're 9 runs short of a record score for Northamptonshire Steelbacks in the blast. And that's pulled away, and that's 6 of them from Zabe, who actually ducks his head as he hits this. It's an extraordinary pull shot. He gets his head out the way and then wafts the bat with great connection and timing. It's almost like swatting a fly.
I see what he's trying to do, but it just isn't working. It isn't working.
A lot of the times you hear pace bowlers talk in situations like this about trying to bowl quicker and quicker. Just got 1 ball left of his debut. And this has gone very high. It's going to take some catching. 3 fielders converging. And it's dropped. It's dropped by Duke, who had run a long, long way around from wicketkeeper to end up at almost a short, fine leg, really. And having dived to get there with 2 fielders in attendance, Duke can't take it. So Will O'Rourke has 2 catches dropped off his final over. This is the second of them. And O'Rourke ends up conceding 67 from his 4 overs on debut. It's by no means the kind of numbers that Yorkshire's New Zealand international would have been wanting. And with 1 over left, Northants in a position I think you can say is beyond imposing. 230 for 3. Northants now just 2 runs short of setting a new record score for them in the NatWest T20 Blast. NatWest T20 Blast, beg your pardon, I'm showing my age there. Vitality T20 Blast. Milnes to bowl the final over. Number 37 of his 3 so far. Short swipe and a miss. Good bumper from Milnes.
So bowled.
Yeah, but this stage a dot desperately needed. Still got a bit of a way to go for highest totals in the T20 Cup in England here, Northants. Somerset the best with 265 for 5 against Derbyshire at Taunton back 3 years ago.
Nice ground, Taunton.
Nice ground for batters. Short, that's been hammered away. Could be a catching chance. And taken. Taken at deep backward square. It's the end of Justin Broad's merry innings. 67 or 31. Broad has smacked it to all parts. But with just 4 balls left, has to go. Held on by Will Luxton. And Matt Milnes gets a breakthrough.
Yeah, he'll be pleased with himself there. 67 off 32. You'll take that at the start of the day, wouldn't you?
Yeah, safe to say one particular spectator in the crowd enjoyed both Broad's innings and the end of it. Throwing a kiss to the camera. T20 Blast brings all sorts of energy from what is a packed crowd here tonight at Headingley. Great to see so many in for it. And we've just 4 balls left. Northants seeing what they can grab. And out to the wicket comes a real veteran of this competition over a long period of time. The 40-year-old Ravi Bopara, who was key last season with bat and ball, and Northants were quick to re-sign him for this season. He was Sussex's top scorer in the Blast in 2023 as well. Bopara starts by hitting it straight towards mid-off. It's not quite a catching chance. It just dropped short in front of Adam Lyth. He makes a tumbling stop. They get through for a single. 3 balls left. Northants level with their all-time highest T20 Blast score, 231. Actually quite, as things stand, work its way into the top 20.
Yeah, it's been very impressive. I do have to say I'm really excited for watching the boys bat tonight.
It's full, 2 full, smashed away through extra cover, and that runs away for 4 more. So Zaber's played a nice little cameo to keep the momentum going here at the back end. He has 25 from just 7 balls faced, which even for the remarkable rate of scoring the Steelbacks have managed is quick. 1 ball left. Northants are past their all-time record T20 Blast score, which was 231 for 5 against the Birmingham Bears at Edgbaston in 2018. It is now tonight here at Headingley.
They've played the perfect innings here. I know I keep on saying it, but if they lose from this point, I'm almost a bit like, well, what else could they do?
Down the ground, the final ball hits the stumps, and they will get through for a single. There's 1 ball left still. Well, that was a bit of luck there because the stump saved Yorkshire 3 runs. Hit gun barrel straight.
I can almost sense the tension a little bit in the field with Yorkshire. The energy seems to have changed a little bit, and I hope they go back to the changing rooms now and just have a little bit of a reset.
Yeah, it's tough when you've had a difficult day in the field.
Yeah.
Sometimes 20 overs can seem like a long time when the opposition are on top of you, but Yorkshire going to finish quite well here from the final ball. Shy misses. It is a bye, and that will be that. So Northants have posted 236 for 4. Yorkshire will need almost 2 a ball here. It will be 237 to win. Just before we run you through the scorecards, we'll Get a reaction to that first 20 overs of carnage from Yorkshire women's batter Amy Campbell.
Yeah, I feel like from ball one, they were pretty much on it, weren't they? They were, striking the ball well. They were getting value for their runs. Nothing too risky, straight up. They were pretty much just patting it back, and it was going for boundaries. So I'm hoping that the pitch plays, just as well for us. And as they put the pressure on Yorkshire there, we made a few little mistakes in the field, and that happens in T20. And I'm hoping that happens with the Steelbacks as well. Hopefully we can put them under a little bit of pressure.
I tell you what, if Yorkshire chase this, it's going to be one heck of a story. Just to run you through the scorecards from that first innings, the platform was set by Ricardo Vasconcelos, 46 off 38, bowled by Tom Bess. Matthew Bretsky looked good at the top for his 36 off 16. Justin Broad smacked 67 off 32. He was caught by Luxton off the bowling of Milnes. David Willey, against his old club, of course, made 54 off 24. Safe side with a nice cameo at the end. 26 not out of just 8 balls. And Ravi Bopara won from his only ball faced. A quite extraordinary assault from the Northants batters. 17 sixes hit, no less. 102 runs scored in sixes. They were averaging across that innings roughly a 6 every 8 balls or so. The bowling figures don't make for pretty reading for Yorkshire. Will O'Rourke, number 67 on debut, although he was unlucky to have 2 catches dropped off his bowling in the final over. 1 for 47 for Will Sutherland on debut. Don Bess, no doubt the pick. Bess with 2 for 29 off his 4. Number 48 for Jaffa Chauhan. And Matt Milnes with 1 for 43 off 4. So a big run chase for Yorkshire. 237 to win after Northants post the highest T20 score in their history. We'll see you back for that run chase very shortly. For now, though, we'll leave you with the highlights of that first innings.
A very warm welcome back to Headingley, where Yorkshire have got a rather daunting mountain to climb. They will require a record 238 runs from their 20 overs in order to secure victory against the Steelbacks here on Blastoff. Just taking you through those scores for the Northamptonshire side. Vasconcelos and Bretsky getting the visitors off to an absolutely electrifying start. 46 from Vasconcelos, 36 from 16 from Bretsky. And I tell you what, wasn't that backed up superbly by the likes of Justin Broad, a career best 67 from 32. David Willey scoring a barnstorming 54 from 24. And Safe Save, as is often the case, chipping in with a very quick-fire 26 from 8 deliveries. So the Steelbacks racking up a mammoth score of 237 for 4. And as a result, Adam Lyth and Dawid Malan have got plenty to do here in the power play. My name is Aaron Viles, alongside me is Dr. Jane Powell. You're watching the Yorkshire CCC live stream powered by Vertu. Jane, in terms of this run chase, run me through some thoughts. What do you think the home side chances are in terms of securing that victory?
Well, I think it's a tough ask, but we'll soon. I think the power play will be decisive as we just begin this chase.
And we start off with a wide from David Willey, who will be brimming with confidence after that knock. Had 2 fours and a staggering 6 sixes in that 54.
And Lyth and Milan will be key in this, especially Milan, you know, not so long ago was #1 T20 batter in the world, and we'll be needing that performance tonight as well.
Most definitely, and of course he was the leading run scorer in the Blast in 2024 for the men in blue. It's Lyth on strike and just whips that around the corner. That'll be a single down towards deep backward square leg.
Milan, you know, it's lovely. I love watching Milan bat. I think, you know, left-handers, Lyth and Milan, they make batting look effortless when they're going well, and it'll be interesting to see how Dawid goes about this chase, whether he goes from ball 1 or whether he just sees it off for a few balls and then once he's got his eye in, as they say, start then to hit the strokes that we know he can play.
No, that is a very good point, Jane, and we'll touch upon that in a bit more detail after this delivery from David Willey. Bowling here to the Yorkshire captain. Milan gives himself some room and just deposits it over the top, square of the wickets for 4 runs. The first boundary for the men in blue, coming off of just the second delivery of the run chase. Second legal delivery, that is, of course. David Willey starting off the innings with a wide, but that is your answer right there, isn't it, Jane, in terms of Milan's intent and approach?
Yes, and we saw good intent there. He saw the space over the top of the inner field in the ring on the offside, and he just hit it well over the top for that 4 runs.
Yep, a very nice shot that indeed. Here is Willey once more to Milan. It's short, it's pulled, it's up in the air. There's a chase on for the fielder. Willey come around. He will. Has he taken that? That is a stunning bit of boundary fielding. And Yorkshire lose their captain in the first over of the run chase. I'll tell you what, that is some work from Northamptonshire. It's a real good change-up as well from David Willey, utilising the short ball to perfection. And how about that catch on the rope? Absolutely terrific stuff that by Matthew Bretsky. Made so much ground. We'll see this on the replay. I mean, look at this. He's got to judge this with the boundary rope. How on earth has he caught that? I mean, we saw a stunning catch from Ethan Brooks at Old Trafford last night, but I'll tell you what, that is up there with one of the finest catches that you'll probably see in the Blast this year in terms of the anticipation and the timing of that catch from Matthew Bretsky. Take a bow, and as a result, Dawid Malan departs. So a big early wicket that, and on in his place will come Will Luxton.
And that can set the tone for the game, really, because now Northants will feel that they're completely on top. They've put a massive total on the board and they've taken the wicket of Dawid Malan with the third ball of the game. That's just 3 balls and it's 6 for 1. And interestingly, DLS was 3 before that wicket. It's now jumped to 14. As you lose wickets, then not that DLS will come into play, but it gives you an indication of where you're at.
Well, Luxton's first ball, as he edged that behind, he looks crestfallen, umpire unmoved. But Northamptonshire are celebrating, and they're celebrating their second. Will Luxton departs for a golden duck. This is an exceptional start from David Willey with the ball, picking up straight up from where he left off with the bat in hand after that quick-fire 54. And that is far from ideal here for Yorkshire. We'll see the replay of this one from David Willey, angling it back into the right-handed Luxton. Big flash of the bat. And in the end, it just nestles into the hands of the awaiting Ricardo Vasconcelos at the slip position. So Yorkshire now 6 for 2 in a real spot of bother as James Wharton arrives at the crease. And not for the first time in his glittering T20 career, David Willey is on a hat-trick.
Yeah, disappointment there for young Luxton, who just got an edge onto his pad, I think, and it then just went straight off there to first slip. And he'll be very disappointed in front of quite a loud and busy crowd out there to have failed with the first ball.
Well, David Willey for a moment was getting prepared to steam in there, of course. Many a Northamptonshire fan will remember that hat-trick in the final in 2013. It's David Willey to James Wharton. It's wide down the leg side. It won't be a hat-trick for the Northamptonshire captain. However, I spoke about that stat in the first innings, of course, with David Willey. Before this game, had 16 wickets in matches between Northamptonshire and Yorkshire. Of course, that was split between the two counties for whom he's played for, but already in this first over of the run chase, getting the huge wickets of Malan and Luxton, looking to break the back of the Yorkshire run chase. This has been an exceptional start from the Northants skipper. That one's shorter and whacked away just in front of the deep square leg boundary. There's a chase on for the fielder. And in the end, George Scrimshaw, I think it is out there. In fact, it's Justin Broad. Prevents that. Oh, and after all of that, there's a run out. Absolute chaos in the middle. We were looking there at the initial fielding efforts from Justin Broad. The ball's been zipped back in. And another Yorkshire wicket falls. This is absolute bedlam and chaos in the first over. The home side 7 for 3. We'll take a replay of this one. Some indecision, hesitation in the middle between Lythe and Wharton. I mean, they came back for 2. This was where that hesitation was. Wharton went for the third. Lythe didn't quite pick up what his partner was going for. And yeah, this is a disastrous start for the men in blue. 9 for 3.
Yeah, I think the mountain that Yorkshire had to climb has just become Everest, actually, and it's going to be a good game to win from this situation, this scenario. But with the way that Northamptonshire are playing, then it could be an early night for everybody. With David Willey, it's a mixed over in so much as he's bowled 2 wides, and yet he's taken 3 wickets have occurred in his over, and there's still 1 ball to go.
Well, it's absolutely staggering. The place is stunned into silence. 9 for 3. So Harry Duke tickles that round the corner, and that will be 4 more runs. So an eventful first over that from David Willey. We've seen 3 wickets fall. We've seen a couple of boundaries off the bats of Dawid Malan and Harry Duke, respectively. And that is the end of the over. I mean, goodness gracious me, it has all been happening here. And actually, I mean, we've not even spoken about this, Jane, but this is the first time, actually, that Harry Duke has batted in a first 11 T20, and it's not the scenario that you would have hoped for at all, let's face it.
No, but in the same breath, I think he enjoys those challenges, and if anybody is looking for anything reasonably positive, Yorkshire ahead of the run rate after the first over. The problem is they've lost 3 wickets, so if they go on at this rate, it'll be finished in 5 overs. So they may well be ahead of the run rate, but they've still got to acquire those 200 plus runs.
Yep, and here is George Scrimshaw, who starts off with a single there, off the bat of James Wharton. I mean, that is absolutely...
I think this is Ben Sanderson.
Oh, you're correct. It is Ben Sanderson. My apologies. It is Ben Sanderson, Northamptonshire's second all-time leading T20 wicket taker. Had 96 in the format before this season started. And I think you can guess who's number one in terms of that column. It is, of course, David Willey, the only Northamptonshire bowler to have surpassed 3 figures in the T20 blast. So yes, it is Ben Sanderson. We'll see George Scrimshaw a little bit later on. It's Sanderson from the Kirkstall Lane end here to Harry Duke. And that will be a single.
Yeah, Harry Duke is dealing in leg byes at the moment. He's still yet to get off the mark, but he's managed to get runs off his legs. So he won't mind that. He'll just want the score to keep ticking over.
Sanderson again is here to James Wharton. That one worked very nicely out towards the deep onside boundary, and that is 4 runs there for James Wharton. Excellent shot that. Really has got plenty of shots in the locker as the Huddersfield-born man. That was a fine one, just clips it through mid-wicket for 4.
Yeah, no danger with that shot. I think, if you're going to go aerial, then there's always that danger. But if you hit the ball on the floor into the spaces, then you're going to get full value for your money.
You most certainly are. Sanderson to Wharton again, goes for the drive. Doesn't get any bat on ball on that occasion. Yorkshire remain 19 for 3. Of course, what would be a record T20 chase for this club. 238 is the target. It's a big one. Big run chase this. It's a Herculean task facing the men in blue as Sanderson bowls here to Wharton. Another dot ball mounts up here for Yorkshire. The early stages of the run chase.
Yeah, and it's a fine balance now. You don't want to give any wickets away, but you've got to keep the score moving over, but you mustn't give the game away too early.
No, absolutely not. It does come back onto that stat, doesn't it, about teams losing 3 wickets in the power play. So that'll be another dot ball there to round out the over. The first one from Sanderson. It's a pretty successful one in terms of the wider outlook of the game. Goes for just 5 runs. Yorkshire 19 for 3 after 2. It's been a crazy start, hasn't it, Jane? By comparison, of course, with Northamptonshire. I mean, they had such a good start, didn't they? Bretsky and Vasconcelos scoring over 70 runs for the opening wicket. And, yeah, that first over from David Willey, it was absolute carnage, wasn't it?
It was carnage, and it feels like carnage is continuing, but this time with the ball from Northampton. I think they are definitely having the better play tonight, and it will take all of Yorkshire resolve to pull this one back to decency.
Certainly will, as Liam Guthrie comes into bowl here, and Harry Duke, first ballers, dispatch that one for 6 runs. Excellent shot that from the Yorkshire wicketkeeper, making that shot look incredibly easy indeed. It's the first 6 of the run chase. Yorkshire move on to a score of 25 for 3.
Yeah, lovely shot from Harry Duke there. He just waited for the ball to come to him, went onto his back foot and just hit that over square leg.
Yeah, easy shot that, wasn't it, for Harry Duke? Here we go, it's Guthrie to Duke, take 2, and that one will be given as a wide. I mean, that would be the one blemish, wouldn't it, so far for the Steelbacks?
Yeah, but it's always difficult batting against somebody who keeps bowling the odd wide, because you start to just ease off or relax a little bit, and then the next ball is bang on the money, and you could be caught unawares. So Harry Duke needs to concentrate here.
And that is a fine shot, isn't it? Down the ground from Harry Duke, who's scoring with some real freedom and fluency here. Admittedly still early in the piece, but a couple of lusty blows. That one down the ground this time against the Australian left arm quick Liam Guthrie. Of course, he's not a stranger to playing cricket in Yorkshire. Played for both Tickle and Newfoundland. He's played his club cricket in this county. First time playing a county cricket match here at Headingley, though. Of course, one of the newcomers to this Northamptonshire T20 outfit, ahead of the 2025 Vitality T20 Blast. Just having a chat with his captain, David Willey, here. It will be Guthrie to continue here from the stand end. Duke again, pick him up. It's a short boundary on that leg side. Goes into the crowd for 6 more runs. Stunning stuff this from Harry Duke, who is making batting look incredibly easy at the minute. Dismissive with the shot selection.
Yeah, just seemed to pick it up, didn't he? Just pick it up and just flick it almost over the leg side for 6 runs. Probably one of the shortest guys in the Yorkshire team. There's a lot of 6 foot plus, but Harry Duke is, I guess, a fairly typical wicket-keeper bat.
Yeah, he's got plenty of shots in the locker, hasn't he, Harry Duke? Fine cricketer. As Guthrie bowls to Duke again, looks for the same kind of area. They'll scamper through for the quick single. Good call that from Wharton on that occasion. Really promising signs this for Harry Duke, who had appeared in a few T20 Blast matches. Certainly kept wicket well in those games, but hadn't actually batted before tonight. So, yeah, good to see him out there in the middle and scoring runs at a pretty decent rate so far, it has to be said. Yorkshire 37 for 3 here. Just gives Liam Guthrie something to think about, and of course it does not get any easier bowling here to James Wharton. Takes on the arm there of David Willey. Opts instead for the striker's end where Duke was scampering towards. Some decent backing up there. Prevents the overthrows. Will just be a single. Yorkshire 38 for 3.
And these 2 batters probably won't rotate the strikers much. They're very much looking for boundaries, but should they do that, then that's when the bowler will have to alter their length, because one is quite short and one is quite tall. So you're having to think about what length you're bowling to each batter.
Well, that one, the pace was taken off from Liam Guthrie, but the outcome is exactly the same. It's 4 more runs off the bat of Harry Duke. And Liam Guthrie's first T20 over in a Northamptonshire shirt is a very expensive one. It goes for 22 runs. So Yorkshire 42 for 3 after 3 overs. And we've also had a change here in the comms box. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome along Yorkshire batter Amy Campbell.
Hi, Aaron. Good to be back. Although, not what I wanted to see really at the start of the innings.
No, of course not. It's an almighty chase, this, isn't it? You think 42 for 3, still 196 more to win, and that is a fine cricketing shot from James Wharton, who walks off so nonchalantly, just dispatches it down the ground. Lovely straight bat. 4 more runs, moves Yorkshire on to 46 for 3.
Yeah, that's an absolutely stunning shot. Hold the pose. We like that. Absorbing the pressure here. Wharton's a great batter.
He definitely
Been
is.
watching
And
him.
I think back to that knock in 2023, the century, right here, in fact, at Headingley against Worcestershire. And that was a masterclass, wasn't it, in finesse and power hitting, some destructive shots in there, some innovation with the ramps and scoops as well. I mean, James Wharton really is going to be a danger man here for Yorkshire. Currently on 12 runs, his partner Harry Duke on 20.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see some scoops pretty soon.
Well, it is funny you say that, isn't it? Because fine leg is still very much up in the circle. So depending on how Sanderson bowls this next one, it's definitely an option. Instead, Wharton looks to work that through the covers. Will be a dot ball. I mean, in terms of the scoreboard pressure here, Amy, in terms of a batting approach, how do Yorkshire go about this? Because so far, in terms of run rate, it's 14.5. That's ahead of what they require, but the issue is wickets, isn't it, at this stage?
It is wickets, but I mean, if these two can build a partnership, absorb a bit of pressure, you know, we've still got some great batters coming in. Nothing is impossible in T20. And, you know, it looked pretty easy for Steelbacks to get it over the boundary. And I'm hoping if these two, just build that partnership and, you know, hold their shape. Nothing too crazy. But putting away the bad ball. Confident.
Well, it is Sanderson once more, this time to Harry Duke, and it's Duke this time who gets inventive. Ships it over the top of that fine leg fielder. I think it will be cut off in the end. Indeed it will. It's Lloyd Pope down there doing the fielding.
Yeah, great piece of fielding that. I actually thought his legs went over the boundary, but I'd have to have a second look at it.
Well, we'll see the replay of this now. It was a daring shot, wasn't it, from Duke. The ball angling back into his stumps as Pope gets across. I think he's just got that in time. That's some really good fielding there from the Australian leg spinner. Of course, we'll see a little bit later on. Sanderson again, that one very much off the inside of the bat. Down towards that fielder at fine leg. Another single to add to the tally. Yorkshire bring up their 50 here in the fourth over. 50 for 3. Wharton on 13. Duke on 23. I mean, it's been a good partnership this so far. 41 for the fourth wickets. It's exactly what the home side have needed, but I'll tell you what, they're going to need a lot more runs if they are to chase 238. It's Sanderson, that one very full, and that is played beautifully by James Wharton. There is that air of enterprise and class and invention from the Huddersfield man. Amy, how about that for a shot?
Yeah, I think he's still playing the ball on merit here, and I think he's shown how calm he is. He really is absorbing that pressure, and he's just watching the ball. He's not trying to do anything stupid for now, and it seems to be working for him. And I think that's going to be key going forward here. Just not trying to create too much. Stand still, watch the ball, and it should go. It's looking pretty fast out there tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's the kind of evening where you'd rather have the bat in hand as opposed to the ball.
Yes, absolutely. I would hate to have the ball in hand tonight, although it doesn't seem to be affecting Willie right now. He has a lot of presence about him, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
He just screams experience and confidence, and he just knows what he's doing.
He certainly does, and it is David Willey from the Howard stand end here for over number 5. Bowling to Harry Duke, who again just swivels that round for 6 runs. That is another marvellous shot from the Yorkshire keeper, who continues to score these runs for fun, and that is the 50 partnership between James Wharton and Harry Duke as well.
I think we finally got a catch in the audience there, Maxie Howell in the sky. Yeah, it's a great shot. Let me see. Oh, look at that. I think it might have been one-handed as well. Kept a hold of his pint as well. Great work.
Great stuff all round. Here is Willie to Duke again, who goes almost for a frying pan shot. We saw Tom Curran play that a few years ago. That's gone all the way for 6. That is ludicrous batting from Harry Duke, who is throwing the kitchen sink out of this run chase so far. He moves on to 35 already. The partnership on 57, and that run rate is a staggering 15.23. It's definitely the right intent from these two at the minute.
It's definitely, I mean, look at that head position. He just stayed right behind that ball there, and he knew where he wanted to put it. He knew sort of where Willie's going to pitch it. And the execution was pretty much perfect. Massive gap behind there, so it's awesome batting.
It is awesome. I think that is the word I'd actually describe it as, Amy. I think that's very apt, to be honest. So Yorkshire 66 for 3. Harry Duke is tearing it up at the minute. There's another short ball there from David Willey.
Yeah, that's well bowled, isn't it? But it just shows, you know, Duke's pretty composed here, and he's not just whacking his bat at just anything, you know. He's picking the right balls, and he knows he needs to stay there for a long time, and you know, he's just showing his composure here. It's impressive.
Certainly is. Really, really impressive, this from Harry Duke. He's taken this opportunity with both hands at the minute. Facing off here against David Willey, who takes the pace off that one. An attempted drive through the covers is stopped rather spectacularly there by a diving Vasconcelos.
Yeah, he hit that pretty hard, didn't he, as well? It's well fielded.
It is. It's very well fielded.
He's in quite tight there, isn't he? Very attacking.
Well, David Willey there just tinkering with the fielding slightly. Puts deep square leg out towards a more deep backward square leg. Whether this will be the short ball. It is the short ball. Umpire unmoved. Second short ball of the over.
Yeah, big waft that, wasn't it? You know, you've got to be careful with those. It's one of those, isn't it? Get an edge on it. It might fly away for 4, but also, you know, it's coming quite straight, and often get a little nick on that, can't you? And it's straight to the keeper, and you're screaming at yourself.
Absolutely. Well, for the final time in this over, bowling here to Duke, who attempts to drill that back past the bowler. Only as far as mid-off, and that will be the end of the over. So there'll be a change here in the commentary box as I make way for Michael McCann, and I'll leave you with some thoughts here in the power play about Yorkshire's run chase so far from Amy Campbell.
So we lost a few wickets there, didn't we? Early doors. But Wharton and Duke have really absorbed the pressure here, and they're putting on a great partnership. I'm being really, really impressed by their shot selection and how calm they've been at the crease here.
Yeah, it's not easy in what was something of a batting collapse with a big score on the board, and you sum it up perfectly in the sense of the rebuild that this pair have provided. And it's had to be a quick rebuild as well, such is the nature of having 238 needed to win. And, well, suddenly, after 5 overs, it feels like quite an unbelievable thing to say, but they're actually 1 run ahead of where Northants were at this stage, albeit, of course, having lost 3 more wickets is slightly mistimed, that one, Duke, but we'll get through for 1. Northants, after 5 overs, 66 without loss. Yorkshire, 67 for 3. It would be an all-time Yorkshire T20 record run chase.
Yeah, I think it's really important that these two keep working together here and keep doing what they're doing. You know, push for the 2s, hit the bad balls, keep it rolling.
He's gone for 23 off his 7 balls bowled so far here. And he's gone for 4 more there. Absolutely smoked by Wharton. What a shot that is.
That was probably one of the nicest shots I've ever seen. I'll tell him that as well.
That went like an absolute tracer bullet from James Wharton. Just watch how he makes room outside the leg stump. Steps away. He's actually taken that off middle.
I like the swag as well. The whole of the pose.
Yeah, there was...
looks lovely.
There's plenty of flair to it from Wharton. Picked out as a wild card to watch this season for Yorkshire in T20 cricket. He has a ton in this format. And he's stepping across there and scooping unsuccessfully. dot ball. James Wharton picked up by Graham Hardcastle as someone who Yorkshire's management rate incredibly highly and believe are not miles away from England honours. And he has a ton here in a T20 game, 111 not out against Worcestershire. What Yorkshire would give for even a decent chunk of that right now. He was excellent in T20s last season, and these Yorkshire lead a bit of a resurgence here. Oh, that's a horrid delivery, and that gets the treatment it deserves. 4 more, and it's a no ball to boot as well, so a bit of a bonus here for Yorkshire, and after a very expensive first over, Guthrie's second is turning into an expensive one as well.
Yeah, they seem to be putting the pressure back on the Steelbacks, which is really, really good to see.
I tell you what, it's raining runs here at Headingley tonight. Who'd be a bowler? Who would be a bowler? After early season and 7 rounds of county championship games on sometimes some sporting wickets, albeit pitches have been slightly flatter than often this time of year due to some pretty good weather. 3 hit time. Sure, and helped on its way, and the free hit will go for 6 as well. So the free hit taken full advantage of by Wharton, who has his first 6 of the night.
Yeah, he waited really well for that one. Bit of a slower ball. So it just shows, like, even if you don't get a full bat on it, it's going. Well, I could say that about Milan's, but well, I wish I could say that about Milan's, but yeah, it just shows how small that boundary actually is, and give it a good heave.
So 2 balls left to the power play, 84 for 3. Wharton and Duke continuing this rapid rebuild. And that's going to help as well. It's beaten mid-on. Off, beg your pardon. They'll come back for 2. 86 for 3.
Yeah, that's really well run.
And you can just steadily hear as well, it's almost like a direct line graph proportionate with this partnership building. The noise in Headingley just starting to raise.
Yeah, Western Terrace will probably be a few pints deep by now. Does get pretty rowdy over there.
Had plenty of sherbets, as they say. Last ball of the power play. What does Wharton do with it? Wharton is making room, and it's almost caught an extra cover, but it burst through. It wasn't really a catching chance. And they'll get back for 2. So end of the power play. An eventful one at that. 88 for 3. Change up here in the commentary box as Yorkshire's women's team pass on to Yorkshire's men's team. Amy Campbell swapping for Johnny Tattersall.
Thanks, Michael.
Who will hope to not be any change in the momentum of this partnership, if you're to believe in superstition. Very good evening, Johnny.
How are you? All right?
I'm okay. I imagine you've been a little happier the last 20 minutes or so watching these two go about their work. It's been quite the rebuild, hasn't it?
It's been great entertainment from Wharton and Duke. They've been excellent. Duke has played fantastically well, 4 sixes as well, which is outstanding from him. Hopefully he can keep going against the spin here. I'm sure we'll see a plethora of sweeps and reverses from Harry Duke, I think.
Yeah, it's not been a night to be a bowler, has it?
No, it hasn't. Unfortunately for us. We probably didn't quite get it right for the majority, but it's always a good batting pitch here at Headingley.
Spin into the attack outside the power play. In the Big Bash team of the tournament was Lloyd Pope. And that squirts away for 1 of something. It will be a bye. Lloyd Pope, 1 of Northamptonshire overseas. He replaced Ashton Agar, who was out injured. Just that one through. That's helped round the corner. That could be out. It's dropped. Dropped. Coming forward from deep backward square. It's a little bit of luck for Yorkshire. It helps this partnership keep going as Yorkshire get themselves a bit of fortune. James Wharton shelled on 35.
I think it'll be disappointing not to hit that into stands, to be honest. It was short, down leg side, probably top of the bat, I reckon, and it just died on deep square running in, and unfortunately couldn't take the catch.
Comes back magnificently. Well, having almost got Wharton the previous ball, Lloyd Pope gets Duke this time. It is the breakthrough that Northants would have desperately wanted, And Harry Duke, who's looked $1 million for his 37 of 17, has to go 84 for 4, 26 minutes at the crease. He scored at more than 2 a ball, but now the Harry Duke show, sadly for Yorkshire fans, is over.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed with that. Going to one of his strong options, a sweep, looked like it was just a bit of a slider that's just been slid in there and it's just probably gone under the bat. It's nicely bowled, to be fair.
Yeah, credit where credit's due to Poe. This is someone that has been consistently excellent in recent times. I mentioned how he played in the Australian domestic season just gone. He was Striker's leading wicket taker in BBL 14 with 15 in 10. And speaking of Australia, here comes Will Sutherland, the all-rounder, 25-year-old on debut. Had a high score in the last Big Bash for the Melbourne Renegades of 70 off 45. How Yorkshire could do with a bit of that hitting thrust here as he joins Wharton. His first ball is just a little sighter guided out to point.
Yeah, just tough with the run rate. Obviously, close at 11 and over. Just ticked over past 11 and over now. So that's always, you've got to try and be aggressive early in the over, and that's obviously what Wharton and Duke were trying to do there, put the bowler under pressure.
Sutherland this time can't beat extra cover. What's he been like around the group in the last 10 days or so since heading over from down under?
Yeah, he's been great. He was helping the lads out at training yesterday with the bowling and plans and stuff, so it was good.
Nudged away for 1. For those unfamiliar, he's captain of the Victoria State team, Sutherland. He's just got his first run in a Yorkshire. He keeps the strike. 91 for 4 at the end of the 7th over. Good evening to you wherever you're watching from across the world. Delighted to have Johnny Tattersall alongside. Johnny, what have you made of this game so far? It's been a bit bonkers, quite frankly.
Yeah, it has. I mean, to be fair, full credit to the batters who've been out there, especially the Northampton players. They played some incredibly good shots throughout the innings. Obviously, we were probably a bit off it in line and length and got punished for that. But yeah, I think Don Best bowled beautifully well, picking up the wicket towards the end of the power play and just tried to stem it a little bit. But yeah, it's just looked like throughout, even when we've got a partnership going, it's when the seams come on, it looks like it's come onto the bat really well, and it's flying away to the boundary. So yeah, we'll see what Scrimshaw's got for us.
Yeah, 2 for 29 off 4 for Don Bess. He did the best job of any Yorkshire bowler in keeping things quiet, as new owner over starts with a quickly scampered 2 off the bowling of Scrimshaw into the attack. Now, he'll provide a bit of a point of difference. He bowls quick. He's made his England ODI debut against Ireland at Trent Bridge, where he started off a little erratic but picked up 3 wickets in the end.
Yeah, he's got a bit of extra height and bounce, but that might work in the favour with the batters on this pitch.
Short and just jabbed. I think it came off the bottom of Sutherland's bat. Still finding his feet out there.
I think we saw that with O'Rourke, especially in our innings, just the extra height and a bit more bounce. And as soon as you missed a little bit short, it just looked like it's set up to be put away. So hopefully, for Yorkshire's case, we can see something similar. He's bowling to the longer side, so it's going to take some hitting to make it to the big side of the ground.
See, it's interesting you mention this, Johnny, because the ground staff told me it's 60 metres towards the western terrace and 59 towards the east. So that's worked away. That will be 1 more. And what they said is it's something of a slight optical illusion, because on the eastern side there's that big building, which right now is pretty much blazed in sunshine. Meanwhile, the western terrace sort of slopes backwards. So
yeah, I can see that. I think we've got the dimensions in the changing room somewhere. I've not looked at them too much, but I think the pockets to sort of find leg and third man. Did you see this ball?
It's nerdled away for 1 more. Yeah, the ground staff did definitely mention that, as you alluded to, what this over is sort of deep third and deep extra cover. There's some shorter parts you can access.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously out to the leg side now, it's sort of wide, long on and a straight deep mid wicket. The ground sort of keeps going out, so it'll still be challenging to hit the ball, and then a sort of a very deep backward square and a wide fine leg, as we're looking at now over towards the west stand.
Steps across and is trying to just help it on its way there, Sutherland, who gives a sort of wry, frustrated shake of the head. Still looking for his first boundary in Yorkshire shirt.
Yeah, so I think it definitely is a longer side, but it might not be dead square of the wicket. It might be fairly similar, but if you miss that by 5 or 10 yards, then it just tends to just eke away from you the ground.
There's some big appeals from Scrimshaw, Scrimshaw can't believe it's not been given, but nobody else, including his wicketkeeper, was remotely interested in joining the appeal with him. What's for sure is it's a great over from Scrimshaw. It's put the pressure back on Yorkshire. Kept things nice and tight. 95 for 4 off 8.
Yeah, I think that was probably a bit too high. Will Sutherland, a tall man as well, so I think that hit him on the back thigh. So I'm pretty sure that'd have been going over the stump, so there we go.
All kinds of fancy dress you get at the cricket, and a little bit of fun here with our Oblivious Cam feature here. A few spectators too busy immersed in chat. Yorkshire are pretty much bang on the required run rate here, almost exactly at the start of Pope's second over, which is turned away. They're going to want 2, and they're going to get 2, putting good pressure on the sweeper there. Now, this is a particularly key passage of play for Wharton, because Sutherland at the other end hasn't quite got into his stride yet. He's 4 off 7, so you'd think Wharton's really got to keep initiative going here, keep things ticking. He'll get 1.
Yeah, I think just building a partnership's really key. Obviously, we don't want to lose more wickets. It's going to be a tall order chasing 12 and over, but if we can keep ticking it over along, and if we can pick up the boundary here and there, then it's going to help us.
Wharton this time has absolutely smoked that for 6. Well, we talked about how Yorkshire got to keep going here. It's in fact Will Sutherland, I beg your pardon. It's his first 6 in a Yorkshire shirt, and Yorkshire need a few more like that from the Melbourne Renegades captain.
Yeah, it's a great shot, using his strength and power there, sitting on the back foot. That's exactly what we talked about there. If you just keep building that partnership, and the rate will increase on this good batting surface.
Steps across this time. He's timed that very well, but he couldn't have picked out the sweeper much better if he tried. Will Sutherland, brother of Australian women's superstar Annabelle, who's established an impressive all-rounder at the Australian women's team across all 3 formats. Going back that time and absolutely belting it into the crowd, Wharton. What a shot that is from James Wharton. The power that he gets and rocking onto that back foot. And it's his excellent batting that is keeping Yorkshire right in this contest.
Yeah, he's having a magnificent season. Is James Wharton so far. He's probably lacked that big score that he really wanted in the red ball cricket, but yeah, he's recovering really well from that little mix-up with Adam Lyth earlier, so hopefully he can keep going here.
Wharton this time will get 1 to move 3 from his 50. I know that last season was a bit of a breakthrough one for him in various ways. It's a really exciting player to watch. As 9 overs gone, 112 for 4. So Yorkshire needed a good over there, and they got it, 17 from it.
Yeah, I think that's the case. A little hitting the gaps, picking up your 2s, keep picking up your singles, limit the dot balls where we can. And this partnership, if the partnership keeps growing, balls faced out there, then these lads are big, strong lads, and they're going to clear the rope. So the boundaries will come. We know it's a good batting surface. It's just not trying to force it too much when it's not quite there. Keep ticking it over and take this game really deep. That's going to be the best chance of us getting over the line in this game.
Scrimshaw back for his second. His first was good. It conceded just 4, but the first ball of his second will bring about a couple of wides.
Yeah, keeper's done really well to get a hand on that, because if he didn't get a hand, it was definitely 5 wides.
There was said with a knowing smile from Lee Tatsel's, a man who all too often has been in that position of protecting the bowler's figures.
Yeah, I think to be fair as well, I thought we were pretty good with extras. There weren't that too many, I don't think, that we bowled, so didn't give ourselves too many extra balls and overs to bowl out there.
It's timed nicely, but straight at deep mid-wicket. And just a slight fumble will allow them to pick up 2. Just on what you were mentioning, is there's appreciative cheers for the good running between Wharton and Sutherland. 1 by 2 leg byes and 4 wides from Yorkshire. So despite the carnage off the bat and the 17 sixes, it was actually, in terms of extras, relatively disciplined.
Yeah, it was. You've got to take the positives where we can. It's early in the tournament. Hopefully we can keep that going through the tournament. That'll be a success.
Steps across this time, and Sutherland can't make contact. He's trying to just sort of help that on its way. Of course, 14 last group stage games. Last season, Yorkshire with 6 wins, 6 losses and 2 no results. Realistically, looking at history, you probably need 8 wins from that 14 to get into that top 4.
Yeah, I think that's probably right if you can win the majority of your matches. I think hopefully we can try and find a bit of consistency. It doesn't matter if you start a bit slow, but it's just gaining some momentum at the right time.
Sounded very good off the bat, and it is very good off the bat. It's down towards the Yorkshire dugout for 6 of the best. Scrimshaw's first over might have been tight, but Sutherland's got after him in his second.
Yeah, really quality shot. Field up, straight. Probably not quite short enough with the field that was set, and Sutherland's a big, tall man, and he's used his levers there really well to get it over mid-on, and a really good contact. It's gone all the way for 6. Putting the pressure back on the bowler again.
Sutherland, after a little bit of a slow start, is getting right into his work here. Great response from Scrimshaw, and there was a little stare as well afterwards, just letting Sutherland know he's in a contest.
It looked like it really zipped off the surface. That keeper took that well above his head.
Yeah, it is definitely a point of difference that George Scrimshaw offers. Product of the Worcestershire Academy, and then moved to Northampton ahead of last season. He's been pressed in the blast for a few seasons as well. Consistent wicket taker, a real point of difference with that pace. Short, and helped round the corner for 4 by Sutherland. That absolutely flies away. So Sutherland starting to look in very good rhythm here.
Yeah, lovely little swivel pull there, hitting that behind square out towards the longest part of the ground. I think it was probably just £2.4 as well. These lads have got some serious power, but terrific placement on that occasion.
Yep, and we've also got a cow with a pineapple. You get absolutely everything at T20 on last opening night here, and we're all here for it. Where does Scrimshaw go now? Pace off. Go Fuller, go for his Yorker. Scrimshaw this time worked with that straight at square leg. So end of another over, and well, I think you'd have got relatively long money on it at the halfway stage, but Yorkshire are actually comfortably ahead of where Northants were at this point. Northants were 105 for 1, Yorkshire are 127 for 4, so they do have another 26 in their favour, but of course loss of 3 more wickets as we get a bit of carpool karaoke. Hey Jude on from our DJ Connor Brown. Some a little more enthusiastic to be caught than others. How exciting for a group is it when last time comes around to play in front of those crowds?
Yeah, it's really exciting. You know, the atmosphere is obviously, you get a lot more people in than we do for a championship game, and everything just happens a lot quicker. So it's really exciting.
Ravi Bopara, the ever dependable Ravi Bopara on, and he's being guided away out to point for 1. Bopara superb with bat and ball for Northants last season. I mean, his numbers are incredible. He's the 8th full-time leading appearance maker in T20 cricketing history. This is his 479th game of T20 cricket. Hard but straight at extra cover.
And I think that's probably why he's one of the best players to have played the game in the shorter format. I've always heard people say the more you play the game, the better you get at it. You know the skills required. You get to know your game so well, and he definitely knows that with bat and ball.
Driven down the ground. This will take some stopping, and it is well stopped. So Northants will be pleased with this so far. quite overforming. Yorkshire need a boundary to change the flow. He's the 5th all-time leading T20 blast run scorer, and he's 6th on the all-time blast wicket table. You can't ask for much more than that for an all-rounder.
Definitely can't.
Short. Slightly missed time by Sutherland. I say that, he's such a powerful man. It still nearly went for 4. And they scamper back for 2.
Yeah, some really nice building down on the boundary there as well. Looked like he was getting quite close to the rope and managed to just throw it away. That's really nice building. Saved a boundary there, but I won't be too disappointed for Yorkshire fans if there's not a boundary in this over, because I think wickets are definitely key to make sure we don't keep losing those. The longer we can get a big partnership going, the better it's going to be for lads coming in towards the end. So, yeah, no stress if there's no boundary here.
Swipe and a miss outside off. Just a reminder, if you are tuning in a little late, that Yorkshire were 9 for 3 after 5 balls of this run chase. Live went for 1, Milan went for 4, Luxton went for a golden duck. But since then, it's been a very different story. Sutherland has accelerated on to 27. Wharton's on 48. Duke made an enterprising 37. Bopara is changing his fielder. He's bringing square leg up and he's putting backward point out.
I think he's going to obviously try and get out of his over here, going to the longer side. We've just had a chat about that, but it definitely is the longer side. Might not be much in it.
Ground and sort of thumped it almost into the ground, Sutherland. It's the end of the over. It's a very good tight over that concedes just 4. 131 for 4. Well, you summed it up perfectly, Johnny. It's those longer pockets. Square of the wicket, there's not much in it, but it's the fact that that boundary goes all the way out, so it does give you a little more room out towards deep backward square or mid-wicket. You can get your votes in for the Vertu Player of the Match. Scan the QR code to let us know on the screen who's your pick. Of course, still plenty of time left in the contest, though. You're listening to Yorkshire Cricket TV with yours truly, Michael McCann, alongside Johnny Tattersall in the matchday squad, but not in 11 today. And, of course, I'm the captain Yorkshire back to Division 1 County Championship cricket this season. And on to bowl is a man you'll know plenty about, David Willey. He's having quite the game, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very classy operator and played a lot of franchise cricket around the world.
Willie that time is bringing a swipe and a miss from Wharton. He made room outside off. Willie with 2 for 22 off 2.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. He didn't bowl another over down at that bottom end after the success he had in the first over, but he went with Guthrie and yeah, that played a little bit into our favour. So, but yeah, he's bringing himself back on again for his 3rd over here.
It's gone very high. It will take some catching. Well, it won't be caught because it's gone for 6. Lovely stuff from Wharton. That's how to bring up your 50 in style. James Wharton's batted beautifully here and he's giving Yorkshire hope of an extraordinary run chase. It's 54 not out of 27 now with 5 4s and 2 6s. He's giving Yorkshire reason to believe.
Yeah, absolutely. He's playing a fantastic knock. Going through all his options. That's a lovely scoop shot as well. Moved really late, which was key to that. Willie didn't have much chance to change up his pace of delivery there.
This time makes room, and that's gone away through point, and that will go for 4 as well. So Wharton's really on the charge here.
Yeah, probably a little bit of fortune, probably not quite where he intended, but he really committed to his shot and got enough bat on it, and it's spun away out towards deep backward point. Yeah, there's some lovely momentum here with Yorkshire, and as I said, if we can keep putting the pressure back on the bowlers, then it's going to be a tight finish if we can keep this partnership going.
Short and gone. Willie gets Wharton for 58, 141 for 5. It's a fine innings from James Wharton, but Yorkshire will need someone else to carry things on, and David Willey has a 3rd wicket against his old team.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed with that. Well, James, no doubt. Just wonder whether he maybe really needed to do that after hitting a 6 and a 4, keeping up with the rate for the over. As I said, wickets is going to be what costs us this game if we don't get over the line. I was just about to say before as well, I wonder how costly that drop would have been at deep square off Pope, just outside the power play, but not to be for Warts tonight.
So, Matthew Revis, the young all-rounder, comes out with Yorkshire right in the contest thanks to Wharton, but needing someone else to carry the momentum onwards. James Wharton showing a game where he's one of the most exciting young up-and-coming batters around. David Willey making his mark on the contest. If you're good enough, you're old enough, and they often say that about the young'uns, but it certainly applies at the other end of things here. You've got the 40-year-old Rapara on from one end, and at the other, Willey, who's not quite that senior, but not a million miles off, and he's still as effective an operator as ever. 97 needed off 50. Sutherland is going well, but needs support from Revis. 23-year-old, born in Steeton, a product of Sebra School, which also produced Harry Brook and George Hill, of course. So that's absolutely smacked out to deep cover for one. That's a confident way to get going.
Yeah, that's just what you want, I think, as well. It's just showing you how good this pitch is. And that always gives you hope as a batting side. We've still got some batting to come. Don Best after this, and then Matt Milnes, I believe. Jaffa Chauhan, we know he can strike a ball, so we've got some batting to come.
Coming around now to Sutherland, trying something different. It's into the pads. Willie's up for it. Willie can't believe it. Well, he's going to do well to get an LBW from left arm around to right-hander.
That looked like it swung a long way.
Yeah, it's not often you'd see these given. Well, you can see why Willie was up for it, put it that way. I should say, if you're wondering why we weren't sure in the commentary box before seeing that replay, we're not quite exactly in line here. We're sort of out towards a long off kind of region. 12 overs gone, so 12 off the over, which Yorkshire will be relatively content with, but the big loss of Wharton, 143 for 5. And again, we're still in very much an arm wrestle. Required run rate and current run rate pretty much identical.
Yeah, it is, and I think we may possibly have got a rub of the green there with the decision. It looked pretty straight, but in real time it looked difficult to tell just because it was so full, and Sutherland's foot moved drastically to leg side as well when he got hit, so it looked like it might have been going down the leg side, but I think it looked like it might have hit him on about middle stump and probably going onto it middle and leg with it being so full. But you need a bit of luck in this game.
Now this is a big moment. Willie has got Wharton himself, and so now has decided this is the moment to bring Guthrie back. Guthrie's gone for 43 off 2. He's been comfortably the most expensive bowler for Northants tonight, and his first ball is going to go away for more runs, 6 of them. Absolutely flat batted in that wide long off region by Sutherland, who we're already seeing is a very strong straight hitter of the cricket ball.
Yeah, that's just brute power, I think. Really close, probably outside the wide line as well. And he's such a tall man, he uses those arms. I wish I could hit a cricket ball like that.
ever modest Johnny Tattersall alongside me, who is wicketkeeper batter in the matchday squad tonight. Sutherland this time has absolutely crunched that for 6 over Cow. Back-to-back 60s from Sutherland, who knows that he's got to take on the senior role in this run chase. That's got the crowd up and about.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision to bring Guthrie back here. There's Sanderson as well. I think he's obviously thinking that he wants to give himself some choice of options, but I think this has probably been a decision especially from Sutherland, no doubt, to try and target this bowling and pick up as many as we can here, and might just ease that required rate a little bit and give us a little bit of respite for maybe when Papara's bowling. He's still got 3 overs to come, but I would be surprised if he's going to get through all 3. There's only 7 overs left after this.
They've already used 6 bowlers here. So there is a variety of options for Willie to try and work his way through. That's nicely bowled. Good ball respected by Sutherland, who is on 39 off 24. Going well on debut.
Yeah, he's a really clean striker of the ball. I'm sure he'd be a little bit disappointed that he went for as many as he did probably with his bowling, but as we said, I think most of our Yorkshire bowlers wasn't quite their night tonight on this excellent batting track.
And that has gone away as well for 6 more from Sutherland, who really fancies the matchup here against Guthrie and senses this is a moment to try and swing the game Yorkshire's way.
Yes, more brute strength again, going towards that shorter side. He's picked out probably the longest part of that shorter side, and it still made it over the rope. Yeah, problems for the bowler here.
It is easy to say, but it was not a thought just in hindsight that bringing back Guthrie, having gone for 43 off his first 2, felt like a bold decision. This over has gone for 18 already. Sutherland this time, down the ground. It's another 6. That's gone into the top tier of the Howard stand. This is extraordinary from the Australian on debut. A 4th 6 in the over.
50 as well. Incredible strike over long on again.
And the bonkers thing is, he only scored 4 runs off the first 7 balls that he faced, but he ends up with a 26 ball 50. So in the 19 deliveries since, he's made 44, and he's hit 4 6s in this over.
It's a great strike. I'm surprised that they maybe not tried to come round the wicket and try and hit the wide hole. He's stepping right across to try and access the short side.
Already 4 6s in the over. It finishes with a more orthodox guide away through extra cover for 1. And, well, I'm going to take a brief lie down after that. An over like that. After a few more thoughts from Johnny Tattersall, he'll be joined by...
Yeah, really interesting decision there to bowl Guthrie that over, but I think Willie was probably gambling on that they might take a bit of an aggressive option, Yorkshire, and try and put him under pressure, but that might lead to a wicket. So I think they obviously realise if we keep taking wickets here, that's going to give them the best chance of winning the game. But nice partnership. Revis is only on single, but it's 27. More partnership, the bigger partnerships we can build, then the bigger chance we've got of winning this game and getting over the line. But it looks like it's going to go down to the wire.
Certainly is. Yep, great to be back here as well, Johnny, as Pope bowling here to Sutherland, who absolutely rifles that through the covers for 4 more. This is a clinic from Will Sutherland, who has taken down his countryman in disdainful fashion. Picks the googly there from Lloyd Pope and just unleashes, climbs into that delivery for 4 runs. I mean, just to touch upon Liam Guthrie as well, he does have the unwanted record of having the most expensive big bash figures, as Pope again utilising the googly on that occasion, played out through the covers for a single, or will it be 2? There's a bit of hesitation, a mix-up in the middle. In the end, Sutherland does get home, and Revis also makes his ground. This is absolutely insane stuff.
Yeah, not really sure what happened there. I think there was a fumble from Willie, and Sutherland had committed to going. And I think, well, if it was bowler's end, it was curtains for Revis, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Maybe some nerves creeping in here for the Steelbacks. Pope again targeting the stumps. That one is very high. It will be a good take, this from Vasconcelos, and it's taken. Will Sutherland has to depart for an absolutely magnificent half-century. I mean, he has absolutely lit up Headingley here tonight. 58 from 30 deliveries, 2 4s and 6 6s. He has given the home side a glimmer of hope in what would be a record run chase. But in the end, Lloyd Pope, his fellow Australian, gets the huge wickets. Yorkshire 174 for 6. And that run rate now stands at a touch under 13.
Yeah, obviously trying to take it down again and go big. He's done it successfully tonight. Unfortunately, not on that occasion. And it's gone high into the night sky, and it's a nice take from Vasconcelos running in at mid-off. Yeah, I just wonder whether did he really need to do that? The run rate had just got below 10 and over, and we know that Wickets is going to win this game for Northants. But, you know, we've talked about in the dressing room taking the positive option if you feel like you can go and do it. And I think he was probably feeling he could be a huge match winner tonight, and took that positive aggressive option. And as T20 cricket, sometimes it doesn't pay off.
No, unfortunately, it is another wicket to fall for Yorkshire's Pope, looking to make it 2-2. Bowling to the new man, Dom Bess, works it away for a single. So, yeah, still plenty to be done here for Yorkshire. But Dom Bess can bat, and I think back to blast off in 2023, Jaffa Chauhan can also bat, as he showed at Edgbaston. It's Pope bowling here to Matt Revis. Drills that down the ground for another single.
It's just given the new batters a little bit of a chance to just try and get in. If the run rate climbs up, we know how good this surface is, so hopefully we can get some towards the end.
Pope giving that plenty of flight, and again looks to dispatch that through the covers. This time it's Dom Bess. Another single on that occasion, and that is the end of the over from Lloyd Pope. Yorkshire 177 for 6 after 14 overs. That required run rate 10.17. The issue, though, is of course those wickets, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And that's obviously, the stats say I think it's about 80% of the games you lose 3 in the power play, you don't win. So, but we're making a really good fist of this. It was a great rebuild just after that first over that was absolutely carnage. But yeah, there's all results possible, I think, at this moment in time. Might even get a tie. I'm interested. I'd probably just sum this night up, wouldn't it, if it finished in a tie?
It would, and it's funny you say that. We'll touch upon that point in a few moments' time. It's David Willey here for his 4th and final over, bowling from the Howard stand end as Bess plays that square of the wickets. Be a chase on here for the fielders. They think about coming back for 2. Bess puts the dive in, and the 1 is converted to a 2. Good hustle that from Dom Bess.
Yeah, really good hustle. Gambled a bit on it. Fielder being off balance in the deep. But I think if the throw had been at the stumps, I think he'd have probably been run out. But it wasn't. So you've got to try and take those risks a little bit at this point in the game. Stay up with that run rate.
Absolutely, 59 to win at this stage. It's Willey charging in here as Bess gets inventive, scoops it over the top. 1 bounce for 4. Make that equation 55 to win here for Yorkshire, who move on to 183 for 6 as Dom Bess busts out the air of enterprise on that occasion. That is a stunning shot.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, the angle was going across him, and it was actually outside of off stump as well to hit that over fine leg. Who's inside the circle. Yeah, it's a very impressive shot.
Certainly is, and it's not the first time we've seen that from, well, any Yorkshire player here tonight. How can David Willey respond? Bowling here to Dom Bess, who clubs that down towards long gone for a single. It's funny you mention about all those results, because if you're into your superstitions, Northamptonshire, the last time they scored 230 in a T20 innings, they tied the game. It was at Edgbaston, 231 for 5, played 231 for 5. So who knows? It's a crazy, frenetic, chaotic competition format. This is why we love the Blast. Anything can happen on nights like these, and where else would you want to be on your Friday? It's David Willey to Revis, flashed off the outside of the bat. Chase on here for Lloyd Pope, who will scoop that up, and it will be a single. You can just tell there's an air of anticipation now in the ground, isn't there? The cheers are getting louder, the noise is building. Yorkshire are in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And lovely little 2 there. Such valuable runs, hitting 2s. Boundaries are obviously so key, but picking up an extra 1, especially when the run rate is below 12 and over, it definitely works in your favour.
Most certainly does. It's Revis on strike here to David Willey. Straying down the leg side on that occasion was the Northamptonshire captain. Just goes for a single. I mean, the question here for David Willey, I mean, who's he going to bowl instead of Guthrie, because Guthrie already has been very expensive. You look at those 3 overs, none for 68. Do you chance the spin of Save Zaid potentially, or do you give it to Bapara again?
I think Bapara will probably... I suspect that Spin and Bapara will probably bowl from this this top end at the pavilion end, and the seam will probably come from the bottom end.
Well, there's a big appeal there from David Willey, umpire unmoved. No damage done there for Yorkshire, who remain 187 for 6 here in the 15th over. I mean, what a game of cricket this one is turning to be. A reminder to be a record run chase for Yorkshire County Cricket Club, and I'll tell you what, they are making a real good effort at this. So it is the spin of Lloyd Pope. Some leg spin here from the Kirkstall Lane end as we head into the final 5 overs of this run chase. 51 is the equation, 50 for a tie, of course. So It is on. You never know what happens in the Vitality T20 Blast. It's Pope who again tries to bring the stumps into play, angles it onto the pads of the right-handed Revis, who works that away for a single, brings Don Bess onto strike.
Boundary away here would be really handy for Yorkshire and just help them get into the over.
Certainly would. It's Pope here. Bess goes on the reverse. They have got some protection out there, Northamptonshire.
Yeah, really well fielded in the deep there. It was a bit of an awkward bounce, picking up on the half volley on the practice pitches. Did a good jog of body behind it. Just a single.
Yeah, excellent work there from Justin Broad. Not the first time we've said that tonight. Pope again is flailed through the covers. And guess what? It's 4 more. Excellent shot that. Yorkshire really beginning to rack up these runs for fun. I mean, for Northamptonshire, it's a case of wickets, of course. But for these two, I'll tell you what, if they can this deep, it's on. It's game on here at Headingley. It's Pope again. Here to Revis. Gives that a lot more flight, trying to tempt the right-hander into a big shot down the ground.
Yeah, nicely bowled there. Just took a little bit more pace out of it. Revis will probably be a bit disappointed he's not hit that in the same place before.
And then on that occasion, Pope bowling it a little bit flatter in trajectory. Gets the right hand on it. The Yorkshire batters sprinting through, and they turn the 1 into 2. You can hear the reaction from this crowd at Headingley.
Yeah, the bowler will be probably really disappointed that they've managed to get 2 there. He flung himself across to try and stop the ball, but actually took some of the pace out of it. He'd have been better off missing it. But you don't think about that when you're trying to stop a ball in the field.
Absolutely not. It's Pope then for the final time here tonight. That one biffed down the ground along the carpet for a single, and that is the end of Lloyd Pope's 4-over spell. 2 for 37 with no maidens for the Australian leg spinner, of course, a replacement player for Northants. It has to be said, of course. Ashton Agar was the original overseas. He got injured. Lloyd Pope is going to have a big season in a Northamptonshire shirt. Michael mentioned earlier about those outstanding numbers for the strikers in the Big Bash. I mean, what a player to have at your disposal in a T20 competition. So, Yorkshire 196 for 6 here in over number 16, and it will be Ben Sanderson, a man born in Sheffield in this very county, to bowl it from the Howard stand end. Bowling here to Matt Revis. Full toss, given the treatment down the ground. Will they think about coming back for 2? They're going to chance the arm. Bess is quick. In fact, he's rapid. Easy 2 there for Yorkshire.
Yeah, a little bit of a slip there on the boundary, unfortunately for the fielder. Couldn't get to his feet quick enough to get the ball in, but really good hustle from Don Bess, coming back for 2 there. I suspect Sanderson will probably bowl this one, and depending on how it goes, I feel like he might bowl again at the bottom end, and I think Bapara will probably come at this top end.
Well, Sanderson once more again really pitching it up, and that is a great stop. Diving low to his right there from the Northamptonshire veteran. Spoke about that stat earlier. If anybody is to stay out this game for Northamptonshire, it's Ben Sanderson, a man who before this season had 96 wickets over the duration of what has been a glittering career for the East Midlands county. But I tell you what, he's got a big job to do here. And as for Yorkshire, it's a case of hoping these two stick around as long as possible. That one's given a bit more width. It's just about stopped in the in circle. As a result, will just be a single, and you can just see with regards to the body language of these Northants fielders, maybe a bit of sweat on the palms. They can tell that something might be brewing here.
It's really nice over this from Sanderson so far. Going to his Yorkers, going wide hole, trying to use the longer side. And he's nailed pretty much all three. And just gone for the 3 runs so far.
But Sanderson again, this time to Best, really takes the pace off of that one. We saw Sutherland do it a couple of times earlier on, utilising the back of the hand slower ball and the off-cutter. That's a very nice bit of deception there from the Northampton stalwart.
Yeah, a really nice change-up. Still using that really wide line as well. Make sure he couldn't get dragged to that leg side, to the short side. Really intelligent bowling. It's been a really, really good over from him.
Certainly has been. Here he is for delivery number 5, bowling to Dom Bess, who whacks it down the ground. It's aerial. Will it be taken? Indeed it will. An excellent catch on the boundary by Matthew Bretsky. And that is another wicket to fall for Yorkshire. It's 199 for 7. 39 the equation. The only issue here is wickets, of course. So Dom Bess, the latest man to depart. He goes for 10 from 9 deliveries, and it is the ever-reliable Ben Sanderson who gets the wickets of the Yorkshire all-rounder.
Yeah, I'll be a little bit disappointed there, Dom. It was probably a little bit, it was definitely more in the slot than the rest of the overs been, but I think that is exactly what happened. You apply the pressure as a bowling side, you nail 4 balls in the over, and as a batter, you're thinking this really needs to try and go, and then you just don't, just snatch at it a little bit, and it doesn't quite come out of the middle of the bat, and the field is well placed to take catch, and he does the job.
Yeah, not the first time we've seen that either from Matthew Bretsky tonight. I mean, that catch earlier was absolutely outstanding on the boundary. That to dismiss the Yorkshire captain, Dawid Malan. I'll tell you what, he's kept his cool admirably there. So as you mentioned, Johnny, it brings Matt Milnes to the crease, facing off here against Sanderson. Not the most convincing of shots there from Milnes, but it is a single, and that will bring up the 200 for Yorkshire in over number 17. So 3 overs remain. The equation 38 to win in what would be a Herculean effort on home soil. But I tell you what, folks, we are in for an absolutely wild ride for these next 3 overs.
Yeah, really, really good set from Ben Sanderson. I think 5 balls there, I think he absolutely nailed. And ironically, it was the one that he didn't, which got the wicket. That's what you can do. If you hit your skills, it's difficult to get away. I thought he might go for the experience of Bipara, but he's sticking with the pace to the longer side with Scrimshaw.
And it is Scrimshaw. Well, they think about appealing for that one. I think Scrimshaw knew that there was no connection with the willow of Milne's bat on that occasion, but Scrimshaw, he bowls rockets. He is an incredibly intimidating operator. Took 6 wickets at 15 in the 2024 T20 Blast. Only thing that you would say is the economy rate at times, 9.64 per over. But he is a strike weapon. And David Willey here is going for blood. He's going for wickets. So Scrimshaw again. Milnes has picked that one up. He's picked it all the way up for 6 runs. Sends it towards the photographer in front of the Western Terrace. How about that for a strike from Matt Milnes?
Yeah, hell of a strike from Matt Milnes. Enjoyed his option first ball as well, using the pace, going for the scoop. Unfortunately, didn't quite come off, but just sitting really deep in the crease there. And I think that's probably what you would probably describe as the slot, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been put away on numerous times tonight on this pitch.
Yorkshire 206 for 7, 32 to win. So that one just guided out towards the point fielder for a single. Clever cricket there from Matt Milnes, recognising the situation. Oh, goodness me. I'll tell you what. Again, a little bit nervous here in the commentary box. I don't know how the fielders and the batting unit are going out there, but reminder, this is just blast off. Plenty more action to come over the course of the summer. If you've not got your tickets, head to the Yorkshire website now. You will be thoroughly entertained over the next month or 2. Scrimshaw just manipulating the field here. The fielder goes down towards long on. 207 for 7. 15 deliveries remain as Revis advances down the track. It's cut off there by a diving Ravi Bopara. That will just be another single.
Yeah, a couple of boundaries here would be excellent. A couple of fours would really bring that run rate down and give the momentum back to Yorkshire. Every delivery without a boundary, more momentum for Northants.
Certainly is. I mean, what a run chase this has been so far, though. Far from over, it's Scrimshaw. And there's the invention from Matt Milnes again. Tell you what, you wouldn't think that Matt Milnes is predominantly a bowling option. He's got quite the array of shots in the locker.
Yeah, he's a very capable batter. Is Milnesy. Did a great job when he first came and went out as a night watchman in the first game, and he made 75 in the championship. Through from that 6 that he's hit, he's got the power game as well.
Yeah, that was an almighty blow, wasn't it? Out towards the western terrace. Scrimshaw this time to Milnes again, looking to make a little bit of room. And I tell you what, in the end, that is a very good over from George Scrimshaw. He has figures of none for 27 from his 3 overs. Yorkshire 208 for 7. We'll have a quick change here in the comms box with the efficiency of a Formula 1 pit stop. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Johnny Tattersall, and to take you through to the end of proceedings, it will be the brilliant Michael McCann.
Yeah, disappointing there not to get a couple of boundaries away for Yorkshire, but that's the name of the game in T20. It twos and throws all the way through. It has done in this game. It's looked like it's been miles off for Yorkshire in this run chase, and then it looks like it's been well on and then off again.
Yeah, he's just been given player of the match, Sutherland, for that 58 of 30, 2 fours, 6 sixes, and 1 for 39, which was better figures than those numbers necessarily suggest. Start of the penultimate over. With what will be just one. Yorkshire trying to pull off the biggest T20 run chase in their history. I beg your pardon, 1 for 47 for Sutherland.
Yeah, another nice start from Sanderson there, nailing his Yorker again, out towards the wide line. It's really difficult to get it away. Backward point might be a region that men are in the ring.
Steps across this time, and it's got next to nothing on that, Milnes, so that will be 1. The pressure just grows on Yorkshire. The wide run rate skies up towards 17.
Yeah, it's high class bowling this from Sanderson. You've got to give him full credit. 8 balls he's bowled. His last 8 balls he's bowled from this end. He's only bowled 1 where he's missed his spot.
From Sheffield, of course. Played for Yorkshire at senior level from 2008 through to 2011. That time has to get funky, and gets funky fantastically, Revis. Helps it away. Had to do something different to throw Sanderson off, and gets a desperately needed boundary for Yorkshire.
Yeah, really nice shot again. It's well out there. Probably not as wide as it could have been. If he'd have been on the wide line, he'd have probably got away with that, but the length was outstanding again. But some really nice inventive batting from Revis there. Sneak it past 45, fine leg in the ring.
Extraordinary game of cricket. Where does it go next? Completely miscued. I don't know how it would have been possible to try and hit that any harder. Could be a run out, should be a run out. I think he's made it back there. My goodness me, really, that was jet fueled stuff from Revis to get 2.
I think I'm not sure how many steps I think we should count how many steps he took here to get back. It only seemed like it was about 6. Got those legs pumping, did really well. Probably shouldn't have been 2 there, but they take it.
Someone's been doing some interval training
Absolutely.
over the winter. All those hard yards, those hard, sometimes long days of sprints and fitness, but Revis has missed that one, and it's a dot. And that is another ball that brings things back Northants' way. It's above 3 a ball now needed. 22 to win off 7. But the way modern players tend to think about this sort of situation, Johnny Tattersall alongside, Yorkshire will partially almost be thinking 3 sixes off 7 balls, and they're most of the way there.
Absolutely, yeah. Boundaries are massive if you get a couple of 6s away.
That has been hit very hard, but it's straight at deep cover, and it's taken. Well, either side by 5 yards or so there, and Revis probably gets 6, but instead it's out. So Yorkshire will go to the last, needing an unlikely 22 to win.
Yeah, there's been 2 incredible overs there from Ben Sanderson. I'm sure Revis will be really disappointed he's picked him out, but I think that's just the skill of the bowler nailing his Yorker. It's right on the wide line. He can't bowl it any wider than that. He's right on the limit. And it's excellent skill, and unfortunately he's just picked him out.
Deservedly gets a good ovation, Revis. He's gone for 23 off 18, caught by Pope off Sanderson, who right now is dragging this game towards the visitors. He has 1 for 20, 2 for 29, in fact, off his 4 overs. He's done, and it's him in combination with David Willey who've done the damage. 5 wickets between them in their 8, so 1 over to go. Chaffer Chauhan is out there. He's at the non-strikers, of course, because the wicket fell off the final ball of the over, and it's George Scrimshaw to finish things off for Northamptonshire Steelbacks. Hold on to your seats, folks. Here we go. Matt Milnes is on strike and probably be looking towards the offside here. There's only deep third out on the offside. That longer leg side boundary with the deeper pockets is well protected. Scrimshaw with a bouncer. That's gone very high into vacant space. Keeper coming round, won't get there. And they'll come back for 2. 20 to win off 5. Milnes gets a couple.
Terrific placement. I think they call that in the business. Yeah, if you're not going to get it all the way for 6, just make sure you hit it into no man's land. And he did that perfectly. Two's a handy.
And there's a lot of no man's land in that part of the ground, as we were discussing. Chauhan comes down to have a chat with Milnes. It's amazing the amount of times we as commentators assume that's some detailed, intricate tactical knowledge. It might just be Chauhan saying, hit it. Well, he skied this one. This one should be taken, and it is taken. Wasn't the easiest of diving catches, but McManus makes sure he holds on, and it now looks tough for Yorkshire. 20 to win off 4, and it's the end of Milnes.
Yeah, really good bowling again. Bowling to the plan, short, out towards that longer leg side. Yeah, really difficult to make really strong connection with that. He's obviously tried to target a little bit more on the offside. Milnes backed away a little bit to the leg side. And it just got a little bit big on him and a little bit on the splice outside half of the bat, quite high up. And a nice catch from McManus.
Now, here comes Will O'Rourke on debut. Yorkshire's overseas. New Zealand international in all 3 formats. But I think it's safe to say he's much better known for bowling absolute rockets with the ball. And he didn't have his night with that. He had 2 catches dropped off his bowling. He went for 67 off his 4. If he could come out and somehow hit 20 to win off 4, it would be one of the great all-time cricketing tales. 1 wicket in hand for Yorkshire. The cards are stacked in favour of the visitors. As Scrimshaw charges in. O'Rourke's got decent clout on that, and it's dropped at point, trying a flying acrobatic catch. 19 off 3, that could have been the game.
I mean, that would have summed it up, this game. That's nearly a one-handed spectacular catch at back of point.
It's a match.
Still a chance. Still a chance for the... Well, I called it earlier on. There's still a chance for the tie.
Yeah.
3 sixes.
3 6.
Big ass from Chauhan, but he's got it in the locker. He strikes some good balls in the nets.
Sure, and Chauhan's got decent clout on that, but it's straight at deep square leg. Who's dropped it? They will only get 1, so the equation narrows towards what really should be the impossible. So Yorkshire need 18 to win off 2, and so long as George Scrimshaw keeps his composure, on a night where it's fair to say bowlers have struggled to keep their composure, Northamptonshire Steelbacks should take the 4 points for the win.
Yeah, and just no extras here from the bowler. And it's all sealed. Keep your foot behind the line. Nothing down leg.
Sure, and a swipe and a miss from Will O'Rourke. And that really should be that. But it is to be a defeat for Yorkshire from the almost ridiculously improbable position of 9 for 3 in the first over. There can be a lot of positives taken in highly impressive batting effort. It is 18 to win off the last. Scrimshaw to O'Rourke. Well, O'Rourke flashes it away. He gets his first boundary in Yorkshire colours, but it's something of a consolation boundary. So Yorkshire finish on 223 for 9, and Yorkshire finish just short, but quick reaction from Johnny Tattersall, who we've been very grateful to have on commentary. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
A defeat, but something to take from that run chase.
I think positives in the batting there after the first over. I'll be disappointed not to obviously pick up the win, but yeah, it's the first game. Momentum's key in this competition. There's a long way to go, but definitely some positives to take, and there's always room for improvement. And I'm sure we'll be debriefing a bit of that in the changing rooms after the game, but hopefully we can come again Sunday and get on the board with a win.
Thanks so much for your time, Johnny. Thoughts of Yorkshire's Johnny Tattersall, Yorkshire President. Dr. Jane Powell will be back alongside me shortly to pick apart the bones from that extraordinary game of cricket. 237 for 4 from the Northamptonshire Steelbacks. Their record all-time T20 blast score, beating the 231 they made against the Birmingham Bears at Edgbaston in 2018. And you would have forgiven them for at that point thinking that they were probably going to win this game by quite a distance. And when Yorkshire were 9 for 3 in the first over, you would have been forgiven for any Northamptonshire Steelbacks fan thinking that they were going to win this game by an even bigger distance. But as it is, Yorkshire end up on 224 for 9, and it's the Steelbacks who take it by just 13. A breathless contest. Dr. Jane Powell, Yorkshire President, how do you start to pick apart what we've just seen?
Well, I think it's a great advert, really, for T20 cricket. You know, the excitement, the shots that were played, the bowling, the catching. It had everything tonight. And I think when Yorkshire did get to 9 for 3, I thought, oh, it's all over now. And then it just showed the partnerships that were created by a number of players, Wharton, Sutherland in particular. You know, they just showed what was possible, and I think had we managed to hang on to a couple more wickets for one more over, then it would have been a very different result. But all credit to Northamptonshire. You know, they played a good game and they finished out on top.
Yeah, they certainly did. A quick run through that scorecard from the run chase. Milan was run out by Willie for 1. Live, beg your pardon, was run out by Willie for 1. Milan was caught by Bretsky off Willie for 4. Will Luxton caught by Vasconcelos off Willie for a golden duck. And at 9 for 3 in that first over, Yorkshire were, to say beyond in all sorts of trouble is a great understatement. James Wharton came in and led the resistance with 58 off 29, 6 fours and 3 sixes before he was bowled by Willie. Harry Duke was bowled by Pope after an enterprising 37 off 18, featuring 2 fours and 4 sixes. Will Sutherland on debut impressed. Started a little slow but caught up magnificently, including 4 sixes off 1 over from Liam Guthrie. Sutherland eventually going caught Vasconcelos off Pope for 58 off 30. Revis caught Guthrie, bowled Sanderson for 23 off 18. And Don Best caught by Bretsky off Sanderson for 10 off 9. Matt Milnes made 11 off 9, caught behind by McManus off Scrimshaw. Jaffa Trahan 1 not out off 1. Will Rourke with 5 off 3 unbeaten. The bowling figures, David Willey 3 for 42 on his return. Without doubt, the player that probably made the most impact across this contest, I'd say, with bat and ball, with his excellent runs. 2 for 29 from Ben Sanderson, who was key when the game got tight. Liam Guthrie, very expensive, 68 for none off 3. Lloyd Pope with 2 for 37 off 4. George Scrimshaw 1 for 35 off 4. And a little surprising that Ravi Bopara didn't bowl more than his 1 over, which went for 4. Now we've taken a breath, let's take a look back at all of the full match highlights of what was an absolutely pulsating contest. It was a game that, well, this feels like a long time ago now, doesn't it, Dr. Jane Powell? In the sunshine, on a ground where it must be said, 18 of the 27 last games across the previous 4 seasons have been won by the team that had batted first. Yorkshire won the toss and decided to bowl, something of a surprise, and it's safe to say it didn't quite pay off.
Yeah, and interesting, you know, apart from that shot there where he went up and over, it didn't didn't start out as the carnage that it became, because most of the shots were played along the floor and it was looking like a normalish game. And then all of a sudden, the faster the bowlers bowled, the quicker the ball went to the boundary. And all credit to the Northamptonshire batters, because they didn't let them get away with anything, and anything that was in the zone or in their slot, they made sure that they got full dividends for it, and all credit to them.
Yeah, it was quite the assault from Northamptonshire Steelbacks. It feels like a little while ago, led by 67 off 32 from Justin Broad, and then 54 off 24 from David Willey. Don Bess is 2 for 29, making him the pick of the Yorkshire bowlers. Northamptonshire Steelbacks posted 237 for 4. Yorkshire finishing on 224 for 9, 13 runs short. Thank you very much to everyone who's made this possible, including our hardworking camera operators and production crew behind the scenes, and also to Aaron Viles, Dr. Jane Powell, Amy Campbell, and Johnny Tattersall for joining yours truly, Michael McCann, in the commentary box. Very important to say, though, before we leave you to watch the rest of the highlights of this one, that this is just one of 2 T20 Blast campaigns launching for Yorkshire this weekend, because the women play against Derbyshire Falcons, 2:30 p.m. local time start on Sunday. They've already beaten Derbyshire a couple of times already this season, so fair to say, Dr. Jane, we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. It'll be a very young side. One or two of our more experienced players are playing their Vitality Blast elsewhere, and we've got 1 or 2 injuries. But having said that, we've got some very talented, very young players who I'm sure are looking forward to that contest very much.
So do make sure to join us on Sunday afternoon for that one, the Yorkshire women's team in action against Derbyshire Falcons in the T20 Vitality Blast League 2. For now, though, after this contest, which has seen Northamptonshire Steelbacks take it by 13 runs, we'll leave you to enjoy all of the 461 runs and 13 wickets that were scored tonight. From Headingley, it's goodbye for now.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.